going on, everyone? Welcome to the latest episode of Flag Plus Football First and Goal podcast. I am FPF Hall of Famer Brent Bakken.
And I'm Kwesi Gordon Mall.
All right, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Semifinals have wrapped up in every single division. The finals are coming up next week. We will have a preview show for that next week in the final podcast of the season. So today we're going to be reviewing all the semifinal matchups from all the men's divisions, co-ed, women's 5v5, 6on6, everything. And we're going to be talking about All-Stars. So I know Kwesi and I have been going the entire season. We released our version of who we thought would be on the respective All-Star teams. We've done all the women's divisions. We've done men's, 6v6, I should say. We did in Division 6. We did in Division 5. We've done 4. We've done 3. We didn't do 2 and 1. Obviously, the league has released their own All-Stars. So what we're going to do is, obviously, we're going to look at them quickly, but we're going to kind of say who we thought maybe should have made All-Star and whether we disagree or agree with the choices that were made. And once again, congrats to everybody that was named an All-Star this year. Just a quick reminder, the All-Star game is going to be taking place Thursday, May 15th at the Complex in Laval from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So before we get to, do you want to do the All-Stars first, or you want to get to the semifinals?
Let's get to the semifinals, kind of get it while it's nice and fresh. Let's start with Division 6B, right? So we'll continue from how we usually do it.
Yep.
I have the games out here. So we had 2 games, 2 semifinals. We had TD Blitz versus the Impact, and then we had passing TDs versus the Stables. So the 2 underdogs won. The visitor teams won. So you have the Impact that took care of business versus TD Blitz, winning by 12, but then you have Stables winning 36-35. So you have a huge win for them as they're the 12th seed. So they knocked out the number 1 seed. They knocked out the number 2 seed. And I think passing TDs was the number 3 seed, if I want to be. Yeah, passing TDs was the third seed. So they pretty much just knocked out 1, 2, and 3, and they made it to the finals.
Yes, so congrats to them. Obviously, again, pretty big accomplishment. It's always exciting when we get to finals time. So I just want to ask you about the Impact. Obviously, like we talked about, right? This is a team you coach, a lot of young kids, a lot of kids who could really ball too. So I'm excited to see what they do under the bright lights of the finals. Like you said, the Impact knocking off TD Blitz 25-13 in that contest. I'm looking at it here. So Julian Costa, the quarterback, had 187 yards, 4 TDs. His top receivers, so it was Luca Vendito, 6 receptions, 104 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he had a pretty impressive outing. Looking at the other side, TD Blitz's quarterback, Alex O'Neill, 125 yards, not bad, 2 TDs, 1 INT. So obviously a disparity in TDs between Costa and O'Neill. Quickly, again, you spend time with this team, the Impact. How do you think they're going to react to making the finals? And do you think the bright lights will be too big for them, or it'll just be par for the course?
I think to be honest with you, they're guys that they're kind of used to the bright lights. I've been coaching them since most of them were in Sec 2. So right now, some of them are in Sec 4, Sec 5. So I've been coaching for a while. They've been so the team that I coached them with was Cadet and Juvie. So they've been Cadet championships. They've been Juvie championships. So they're used to the spotlight. They're also used to losing too. So one year we lost the championship. The previous year we won it. And then in Juvie, they just won it the previous year. So, I mean, I don't think it's they're probably going to have some nerves, but going into it, I think they're going to be all right. Most of the guys are really good friends. They're literally practicing right now together. So it's nice, like they see each other 3 times a week on the field for practice, and then they see each other all at school, you know. So all the chemistry, everything's all that. It's all put together. So I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think nerves or anything like that under the spotlight's gonna be something that's gonna affect them. Again, there might be some type of nerves, but not to a point where it's gonna be like, oh, we're not used to this, you know.
Right. Okay. And so looking at the stable squad, sorry.
No, let's continue.
I was going to say, so looking at. I was going to say, so looking at the stable squad, obviously they snuck out with a victory in Chateauguay, 36-35 over the passing TD. So that's obviously tight one. A game could have went either way. And just looking at the stats here, right, from that contest, And
Yeah, it
so
went
we
to overtime.
see a big performance. Yeah, so yeah, went to overtime. So a big, obviously, David Mather leading his team to the victory, right, in OT in that game. So my question to you is obviously some of these guys are a little bit older than some of the guys on Impact. And again, they were able to pull that win out of the fire, as we saw, right? They got the winning score was a 2 point conversion to win the game. So obviously they had to step it up after giving up the 1 point play to pass the TDs on the previous play, right? So my question to you with the Stables is obviously they're a team that knows how to put points on the board. What can they do to take advantage of the Impact defensively?
Defensively,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to do much defensively. I think the impact. I think the impact. I think that. Well, I think impacts. I think they're just a bit too fast. I think Stables is more like a base team where like they're decent offensively and defensively. They're in the middle, but I think Impact's offense, the athletes are just a bit too fast. So, and the reason why I do say that is because they did play versus each other back in week 13, and Impact won 46-18 back in March 30th. So for some reason. Yeah, hello? Brett, can you hear me? It's weird. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we have a bit of technical difficulty. I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. I think we're back. We're good. Let me just add this back on. All right, I think we should be fine. Yeah, so they met each other in week 13. Impact won 46-18. Supposedly, what I've been told from the guys, there was actually a fight that did actually happen where one of the Stables players, and I'm pretty sure it was the Stables because after all the
Oh,
guys came up to me after one of the practices we had on Monday, they're like, "Oh, we're playing the Stables. They're playing the Stables." And supposedly there was an occurrence that happened where one of the players like hit one of the impact players, and then the fathers from the impact players had to like go down and talk to that player. Like there was some
okay.
type of contact that did happen there. So I mean,
Wow. Okay.
just a little gossip on the side for a little thing. It's kind of funny to say because it's funny how like that incident happened and then all of a sudden they're playing versus each other in the finals. So,
Right,
but
right,
I'm
right.
hopefully Stables do have some sort of offensive defensive plan to kind of slow down the impact because again I do want them to win an air championship 100%, but I do also want to see a good game, you know. So
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. Okay. I
but
mean,
yeah,
again, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say. I mean, again, we'll get more into detail of what we think is gonna happen in that on next week's podcast. I do want to say those. Obviously, we talked about the Impact defense. One of the reasons why I brought that up is if we go back to that semifinal game, right? Sean Costello, 3 TDs in that contest. Zach Fillion, probably 2 touchdowns in that contest. So again, that's the team that knows how to put points on the board again in the Stables. But I will say, so I found out some information this morning. So David Mather, again, the quarterback who threw 5 touchdowns in the Stables 36-35 win over passing TDs, he might not be able to play in the finals. So
Yeah, I
according
saw that.
to the Facebook post, yeah, so he might be at a wedding. So
Yeah,
hopefully the team will try to step up to switch spots. I know he's asking their
yeah.
final supposed
So
to be on the 17th. He wants to play on the 18th.
yeah, so the issue with that is so there's two. So I'll put a little more gossip. So the Impact team, like they're a school team, right? So they're in a flag season right now. They're in our flag season. So they actually have two games on Saturday. They play at 10. They have that game at 10 a.m. and they have a game at 12:30 a.m.
Right.
12 p.m. So at noon. So they have two games, and then the championship I believe is at 3 o'clock
2:30. No, it's at
or
2:30.
2:30, right? So they
Yeah.
have two games plus then they have the championship with that. So they were trying to reschedule to have a
Well,
later date
yeah, yeah.
on the Saturday, but they can't make it on the Sunday. They have too many players that are not there on the Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, exactly. Like they don't, and well, not they're missing three players, but one of them is their quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
If they
pretty
want to, if the request is for Sunday, so they can't even do that.
right.
So I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm not sure. Like I saw the post and I was gonna rate something, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna let
Yeah,
it
it's hard.
be.
Listen, yeah, yeah, good call, good call. I'm sure as you know, right? Trying to get games rescheduled when it's
No,
like yeah,
exactly.
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, it's there unless you have a team that's like willing to make that switch. But we have so many
Only two
conflicts where other
teams.
guys are playing on different teams. It's like
Exactly,
I
exactly.
know for some teams it's like I was trying to make a switch for them because my impact team is playing their impact team. So pretty much we have two impact teams in the same division, but one sec three and one sec four. So like I coach a sec threes, and
Okay.
the impact team that's in this flag league is in sec fours. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
changed my game because our game was supposed to be at 12:30, and I changed it to 12 to make it easier for them to get to the championship game at 2:30
Okay.
because it said it's like a 30-minute, like 30 minutes is still 30 minutes. But then I was also trying to change the time for their time game for a later game, like at 4 for the other time stamp at
Right.
3:30 or whatever, 3:45, whatever the thing. And
Okay.
basically Ben told me that it wasn't possible.
There you go.
So
I mean, listen. Hopefully, they can try and figure it out because as it stands right now, I think the game's going to be played at 2:30 next Saturday. So we'll have to see
yeah,
what happens. Maybe I imagine if it's someone's cousin's getting married, maybe David Mather is part of the wedding reception, or maybe he's the best man. I hope not. Maybe he could duck
yeah,
out.
he is
Now
the
we're
best man. That's what he
oh,
said. He is the best man.
okay. Well, then
Yeah,
he got us
yeah.
screwed. Okay. Hey,
So
see what happens.
it is what it is. We'll
There you
we'll
go.
see we'll see back next week when more things unfold.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
all right,
Okay.
so Division 6A.
Yeah, 6A. Yep. So 6A, we got 90s classics. They took on the TD brothers, I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 90s
And
classics getting the win in that one.
yeah, they won 27-19, which is again I think we both kind of said it that we thought 90 Classics was gonna win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I got to say, shout out to obviously Jimmy Ojea. 78 yards. You would think 78 yards, you're not going to win the game, but he had 78 yards. He got it done. He scored a TD. I was looking at the stats earlier today. So Troy Lenve, a guy I talked about a couple of weeks ago, former teammate of mine, he pretty much
Wait,
scored all the
wait,
TDs. I'm
what
sorry,
do you mean
Jimmy
once?
with 4 TDs. My bad.
You mean 173?
Yeah, sorry, 173. Yeah, sorry. I,
Yeah.
should, I have it right here. My bad. Sorry, 173. Sorry. Yeah, so 173 yards and 4 TDs, not one. Sorry, so 4 TDs. And they all went to Troy Lenve again. This guy's a stud. If you have a chance, get him on your team for the spring. If he's going to be playing this spring, former NCAA athlete. Yeah, so those two pretty much a two-man show against TD Brothers. They really took care of business.
Yeah, I see that right now. I have 4 touchdowns. Pretty good stat line though. 23 for 31, 173, 4 TDs is pretty good.
It's pretty
Then
good,
you
yeah.
had Felix Giraldon went 10 for 22, 102, 3 TDs and 2 interceptions, which is it's still kind of, I mean, the fact they only lost by
Horrible.
8 points, they lost by 8 points and the quarterback threw 2 INTs. I mean, you would, you would expect that the score would be a bit higher, the win rate, the win that Nice Classic got, but I'm
Yeah,
surprised
yeah,
it's only eight.
yeah.
I have to play 2 INTs too, and then also Nice Classic got one extra. Well, they got 2 extra points. One was one for two, so they got extra 3 there. And TD Brothers only got 1, so that's an extra two
TD Brothers
points.
only got one. And if you even look at defensively, right? So the 2 INTs, they were flown by Gillardo. Again, Troy Lenve got those as well, right? So the man had
Yeah.
4 TDs and 2 INTs. Pretty busy day and one point conversion.
Yeah, he definitely carried the team. But also, I want to give a shout out again. We said before, Jamie Ojea, like it's a good stat line 23 for 31, 31 for 23. 23 completions on 31 attempts,
30 attempts, yeah.
173 yards. Like it's good. Like to be honest, I would probably thought his stat line was going to be a bit worse, and he didn't even run. It seems like he didn't even use his legs at all.
Which is surprising,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it seems like he had that's a very good game.
Uh, so yeah, we get the other matchup. Do you want to hop to that? Gold
Yeah.
Rush knocking off Miguel
Gold
Swim.
Rush, yeah, knocking out McGill swim team, which is kind of sad because again, I think we were both kind of. Well, I know you were kind of rooting for McGill swim team. I think those were your.
Yeah. So you know, so I'll give a little background to that. So I had a chance earlier in the day. I was working the FPF Junior tournament Saturday and Sunday. And congrats, by the way, to all the kids that came out. North Shore ended up winning. I think Bantam, Mosquito, and Pee Wee. So congrats to the North Shore kids. I had a chance to talk to Keon. So Keon Cyrus was one of the scorekeepers with me on the Sunday, and he said, "Yeah, man, we have 5 guys. They were struggling before he left the field. He told me they were able to find a sixth guy to play on the team because basically with the McGill swim team, some of the guys don't live in town, and they're all students, so the semester's over for everybody, right? The winter semester. So a lot of the guys ended up going home to wherever they live, right? So they got one guy to come back into town. They all had to kind of pool some money together to get the guy a train ticket. He was telling me just so they could be six for the game, and
Wow.
they still lost by a touchdown. But again, credit to those guys. They came out, they tried, they did what they could, but I mean, they come out on the losing
Yeah,
end.
well, good run for them, right? Like losing in the semifinals, it sucks because you're so close.
Yeah,
You're just there. You kind of could taste the championship, and then it's like all of a sudden it's gone. But like you have to realize that some teams didn't make it past the first round, or some teams didn't make it into the playoffs. You know, so sometimes you have to look at sometimes you have to look past the bad and look at the good. You know, so
100%, 100%. So I'll tell you, so to cut you off, McGill swim team. I remember when they came into the league. I think they were McGill. Yeah, they were McGill swim team at first. They were horrible. I'll be honest with you. They were hot garbage. And Keon and those guys, they won't get mad at me for saying it. The quarterback situation wasn't good. There was a lot of drop balls. There was some arguing with each other on the sidelines with various guys. Just really not disorganized, but just not coordinated on either side of the
mhm,
ball, right? And you know that's important. And it was just, I took them, I think, a season or two to really kind of find their footing. And once they got comfortable and knew what worked for them and what didn't, that's when they started to become a solid team like they are now, right? Again, obviously with the freshman Excel, that's a different version of some of those guys, a different team with some of those guys on it, a little bit of a higher division. So they're finding their footing. And like you said, right, they made it to the semifinals. That's nothing to spit at. So congrats to them. And again,
yeah.
see what happens going forward.
Exactly. And then for our championship finals, we're gonna have a little recap. We'll talk about it the next podcast. But we have '90s classics versus Gold Rush. So hopefully,
Good.
that's gonna be a good matchup in the
I,
next 2 weeks.
I will say congrats to Go Rush again and getting to the finals. Leon Butker, three TDs in that game. They all went to Nathaniel Alfasi, who had five catches, 102 yards, three touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And a good team effort. Right? Listen, you hold the team to 13 points. You're doing something right. Even for the McGill swim team, they held the team to 19 points, right? So both defenses showed up,
Yeah,
and Go Rush is getting the win. Go Rush was down at the half, by the way. They were down 13-6, and they outscored their opponents 13-0 in the second half. So that's pretty impressive.
yeah. Big shout out to the defense in the second half.
Definitely defense wins championships. Okay, so let's go to 5B here.
Mm-hmm.
So 5B, we had the Maccabees. They knocked off the Super Turbo Nuggets, if I'm not mistaken.
The Super Turbo Navet, yeah.
Yep, 34.
And then Dirty Dogs took on Les Manches de Bang.
They laid a beating
So
on
you
the
had
Monster games. I was shocked by
yeah,
that one.
exactly. So you have Maccabees that had a close game with Super Turbos, 34-31. Um, Kind of seems like they were in control the whole time. Quarterback Shimmy Cons went for 14 for what 14 for 24, 167 yards, five TDs. So no INTs. And then Rafael Canyon went for 23 for 30, 230 yards, five TDs, and one interception. So I feel like an interception probably was the game changer coming down to it. The fact that it was only a 3 point game. Also, converts to it seems that Maccabees got 4 points in converts and Les Turbos only got one. So that's extra 3 points they got there, and they won by three, right? So I think the INT and the three extra convert points had a big impact into this game for the reason why Maccabees won it.
Yeah, but
Unless
yeah.
you,
I mean, the
yeah,
Mac. So the Super Turbo Naviet's got a sorry. The Super Turbo Naviet's got a late touchdown with like 3 plays remaining to make the final score a little closer. But yeah, you're right. Like
yeah.
the
Well,
delay.
it says they scored and then they went for onside, right? So
Yeah,
they did have a chance to actually win it, right? I feel like their option conduct. So I feel like they had one play after they scored. So they scored it, and they had one play left to win the game, and they ended up not converting it.
yeah. All right, so
So
congrats to Maccabees on punching their ticket to the final.
yeah, and then Dirty Dogs versus Le Mange de Bang. It seems like Dirty Dogs were just in. Actually,
It
it
was
says
close. It was close
first
at
half.
halftime. Yeah, 5 point
First
game.
half, yeah, 20-15, and then it seems like Dirty Dogs kind of turned it up, and they didn't let them
Yeah,
score. Xavier ended up finishing with 87 yards, two TDs, and three INTs. So
yeah.
it seems like by no souls too. So it seems like yeah, the brothers, yeah, exactly. These are the two brothers. play on Dirty Dogs. Um,
They just three brothers.
it seems like the defense kind of turned it up, and they took care of business in the second half.
100%. Listen, I mean, yeah, you talked about the Souls brothers, right? Jacob Souls, a QB, 6 touchdown passes. Noah Souls, 3 TDs. Carter Souls, and then we've heard a lot over the last couple of weeks here in FPF. When he's on his best behavior, this guy's a player, man. He had a touchdown. He did his thing. Um, yeah, that defense. So Noah Souls, like I said, yeah, 3 INTs in that, and so the underrated rusher. I met this guy a couple of times. Plays in the lower divisions. Massimo Rosati. I asked him to play on my team. He's not playing this summer. Unfortunately, I think he only plays in the winter season. 7 sacks, 7 sacks in the game. So he had more sacks than the quarterbacks had touchdown passes, at least individually, at least, anyways. Seven
That's a
sacks.
crazy. That's a crazy stat line. That has to be a record in a playoff game. 7 sacks.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. Like, and
It
this
has to
guy's
be. It
good.
has to be a record. 7 sacks is a lot of sacks.
Yeah. So I think those
That
7 sacks
kind of
contributed to that second half shutout because 15 to
yeah.
nothing. Sorry, 19 to nothing in the second half. The Dirty Dogs outscored the Le Mange de Bain. So I mean, yeah, I think they had a lot
Yeah,
to do with
and
it.
it seems like the quarterback from Bang. I wonder if he's a rusher, if he's a runner. Okay, no, he doesn't really run. He runs once a game, it seems.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I guess the running wasn't really a factor into it, but
yeah.
7 sacks
70.
is still
Yeah,
is a
it's
lot.
impressive.
So I guess the matchup would be Dirty Dogs versus
It's the
Maccabees
Maccabees. Yep.
into the final, right?
So they met in the
So that
regular
means we
season
have
week 9. Sorry?
okay, and
I was gonna say,
how
yeah, they
did
met
that
in week
go?
9. The Maccabees got a 22-19 victory over the Dirty Dogs. So close one. So we'll see what happens. Obviously again next week, right, when they go head to head for the championship.
Yeah, and it's a 9-1. Well, Maccabees finished 9-1. Dirty Dogs finished 7-3. So it's two teams that had pretty good seasons. Uh,
Yep.
Two teams that score a lot. Two good defenses. They both allowed 165 in the regular season. So both defenses are pretty good. Maccabees scored extra 60 points compared to the 280 that Dirty Dogs did. But it seems like even again, as you said, their matchup they played before 22-19. So both defenses definitely showed up for that game. Offenses wasn't really a big factor, but it seems like we should have a good finals for that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right,
So
let's
we'll go
hop to Division
Division.
5A.
Yeah,
So we have the Baby Sharks. They laid 47 points and a 47-26 victory over the Thunder Buddies. And Reborn Prospects, so a lot of people's favorite to win it all. They and a close one. They knocked off the Pigeons 18-12. Both those games taking place
hmm
this past Sunday in Chattagee. Looking at the Baby Sharks game, Jeremy Laplante. He only had, so I was looking at the stats earlier, and I'm like, okay, I see they scored 47 points. Yeah, they eight passes completed of 16 for 96 yards. 4 of those
yeah,
8 completions were touchdowns, so that's pretty impressive in and of itself. You look at the other side, the main man Terry Babalas, quarterback for the Thunder Buddies, 2 TD passes, 86 yards. That's not so great. Where it really fell apart though was the INTs. Terry tossing 5 INTs in that
yeah.
matchup, and it just that's not a recipe for success. 2 of those got returned for touchdowns by the Baby Sharks.
Yeah, but it's also halftime 2020, right? So I mean, it was a close game.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
true. That is true.
it was a close game. In the second half, I feel like I guess Terry kind of self-destructed, and they couldn't really do much um, going forward for that because throwing 5 picks is a lot. Five interceptions is again as you said two were pick sixes. We have two
Yes,
sacks as well too. Terry absolutely he did use his legs a lot too. Five
that's
attempts for
true.
seventy
That's
six
true.
yards. Jeremy also
Yeah.
Laplante also used his yards as well. 4 attempts for 62 yards, 1 TD. So both quarterbacks were kind of they're in the groove. They're
Quarterbacks,
both
yeah.
running, but it seems like the second half, Thunder Buddies kind of just were flat, and the picks definitely don't help, especially 5 picks. If you throw 5 picks, you tell me you win your game, then the quarterback had to throw at least six or something regarding those lines because that would not
Yeah,
make sense.
exactly. 100%, 100%. I'm looking at it here, man. I was surprised. So I was looking at Will. Obviously, Will Power, top notch person, top notch player. He was quiet surprisingly, he's the number one receiver for this team. Speaking of Thunder Buddies, 6 receptions, which is decent, 33 yards, and only one touchdown.
Yeah, but
Surprising.
I feel like that's how Terry's offense kind of runs. I watched Terry play quarterback a couple times, and he has a lot of dragging routes, right? So if you have a team that's pretty, I think Bart Baby Sharks is a pretty aggressive team. A lot of young athletes as well too, right? So it's like to a point if you also just play a high low defense with a three spy underneath, it's kind of like saying like, okay, we'll give you the easy drags for 2 3 yards, but we just have to deflag you. So if they got a lot of deflags, it's kind of to a point like, okay, well, Will takes a drag, he catches it, he gets deflagged. Okay, 4 yards. Okay, he gets an error drag, catches an error 3 yards, 4 yards. So I'm not that surprised that that's a stat line just because the way I see Terry's offense runs, right? And I'm pretty sure a couple of those passes that he might have thrown to well, it says he went 6 for 7 when it comes to the stat line, right? He said there's only one, I think, one throw targets, right? So maybe one of those targets that he did throw to him. Well, didn't know, that's all. It doesn't make any sense actually because what I was trying to get at was maybe Terry threw some passes to Will Power that were in INTs. That's why his stat line is the way he
But you're
is. So
cutting
he
off a
still
little bit
has more
here.
yards. But then it says his target he has uh,
Let's see.
16 completions,
Hopefully,
29 attempts. So that means there's
hopefully continue
13
back
balls
soon.
that were, I guess.
And so continuing on, so just to speak to this point again with the turnovers, just looking at it.
Oh,
So in the
so
second half,
we had some
Terry Bowles,
physical
unfortunately, three
technical
INTs. He was sacked.
difficulties. So I'm just gonna continue. Brent should be back anytime soon. So pretty much what I was just saying regarding the situation. Oh, welcome back, Brent. So basically, what I was trying to get at, I was just saying maybe he kind of some of the catches that Will would usually get to make his stat line a bit higher were picked off, but then the attempts and the completions don't really make sense. But again, during playoffs, sometimes the stats are kind of off. So I think also that had to do something with it as well. The reason why his stat line is the way it is. All right. So going forward between reborn prospects and pigeons. So Brett, I'm not sure if you hear me or not. So right now you're just having a bit technical difficulty. So I can't hear you, and I'm not sure if they can hear you. So we're just working on that. All right. So, anyways, Brent. Okay. So I'm just gonna continue going, and Brent's gonna join us hopefully soon. So we have reborn prospects versus pigeons, where everyone again was Brent was saying everyone was saying kind of reborn prospect was the team to kind of beat going forward, coming down to the end of the season. They end up getting the win, 18-24. Crazy stat line. Did I just see the quarterback throw for 5 attempts? So the quarterback for the Pigeons had 5 passes. Wait, complete. He only completed 5 passes. 24 attempts, 5 passes. So only five. Only they only had 5 catches, which is that's a crazy stat line. I don't think I ever saw that in my life. A quarterback throws completes 5 passes and has 24 attempts. That's crazy. But it seems like both defenses are pretty good because Samel Uba, um, he threw 4 INTs that game. So I guess both defenses were pretty good. It kind of shows 18 to 12, but I guess Reborn Prospects defense were just a bit better, and they got the win. So going to the stat line, yeah, we had some INTs. Luca, we also had a pick six from Luca from Pigeons. So I mean that also helped the offense get an extra point going on the stat board. And then both teams, none of the teams got their extra point. So hopefully Reborn Prospects goes into this finals with a better offense. Samuel could throw less INTs because throw again, as we were kind of saying, the fact that he threw 4 INTs, Mass and the quarterback from Pigeons only threw 2, and Reborn's prospect got the win is kind of you don't usually see that stat line. I'm pretty sure Brent, when you do come back or you do hear me, I think me and you both we would agree that throwing 4 INTs in a playoff game, you technically should lose. But again, only completing 5 passes, I think it's way worse. I wonder what's worse if you throw 4, 5. How many INTs would make 5 completions? make it the same thing. I guess like four is pretty. I guess five. I guess if someone says, would you rather throw five completed passes or would you rather throw five INTs in a game? Like which one would you pick? Because they're both pretty bad. Like if I had to choose, I think I'm going I think I'm going interceptions because then you kind of could blame your players. Let's say if there's a tip ball or pass where your guy kind of drops in, he kind of puts it back in the air and then they get an INT, then that's fine. But five completions, I guess you also can blame your receivers on throwing, but five completions is pretty bad with 24 attempts. That's kind of bad. So I think I would go INTs because then again, I could just blame my players. But yeah, so going forward, so going to the finals, we have Reborn Prospects versus Baby Sharks, which gonna be should be a good game. I don't believe they played each other. Um, they have not. So we have this. No, they have not. So just gonna check the seating again regarding the two teams. So Baby Sharks was the fifth seed. Reborn Prospect was the fourth seed. Both teams were 7-3. Reborn Prospect has the better defense compared to Baby Sharks has the better offense. So we should have a good finals next week regarding these two teams. As we said before, me and Brent are gonna be back here next week on the podcast, and we're gonna kind of give. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I'm on a podcast. What was I saying? Yeah, so we should have a good finals going. We should have a good finals going into next week. So I'm gonna go into we're gonna go into Division 4B. All right, Division 4B. We have Raw Sauce that played against Cast of 12, and then we had Hooligans that played the Chosen Ones. So big shout out to Sanders. Sanders plays for the Chosen Ones. He kind of was telling me he's like, oh, this. He was kind of saying before. He was kind of saying like, oh, this is the one team he feels like could go the farthest. And for the guys that don't know Sanders, Sanders he's a pretty good player. He plays in like Division 1, 5v5, and he plays in a lot of teams this year. I think he played on 5 teams. I believe he played Division 1, Division 3, Division 4, uh, Co-ed 1, and 5v5. So he played for five teams. I believe he's still in it for 2 teams. So he's gonna have 2 championship tries that's going in, but he was kind of saying that like don't count him out. And again, they ended up beating Win Diesel last week, knocking out number one seed. Where me and Brent were both kind of saying that Win Diesel was a team to beat, so he beats them, and then he comes out beating the Hooligans 25-24, with him having a stat. Do I have the stat line here? Stats are not here. So stats are not there, but it seems like they were behind a halftime was 18-13, and the second half they kind of just came out. Defense played well. They only allowed 6 points in the second half, and if I'm looking down, it seems like it was pretty much all defensive after. So he scored. He got a pass to Ben Chudu, and they missed a convert. Didn't matter. They're up by 1, and then it was pretty much defensive game. They ended up getting a stop, and they end up winning the game. So shout out to the Chosen Ones for punching their ticket to the finals. And then we had Raw Sauce 2.0 versus Casta 12, which Casta 12 just kind of seems like they kind of just took control. Going into halftime, it was pretty close, 19-12. But then second half, Raw Sauce couldn't score any more points, and they end up taking it 38-18. Um, Both quarterbacks, again, Ludovic from Raw Sauce, 4 INT. So we are kind of saying like if you throw 4 INTs, 3 INTs, it's kind of hard to win a game. So like kind of the reason why I'm understanding why the score is what it is. It's hard to score points when you have INTs. Can't score points because you're giving the ball to opposite team and they're scoring points. So we have Cats of 12 that took care of business and they won 38-18. So they got a chance to go into the final. They punched their ticket going to the finals. So again, as I said before, Well, we're gonna me and Brent are gonna talk about the finals next week on our podcast to kind of give our picks and kind of see our strategies and who do we think is gonna win. So I'm gonna go to Division 5A, F4A now. All right, control. So 4A, 4A. So we had two big games, Goons versus Trap Stars, which I actually saw part of that game where it was actually just a high scoring game with Goons ended up coming down with it at the end and winning 48-47. I'm just gonna look at the stat line here. So yeah, exactly. So I saw part of this game. Both teams are kind of scoring with will. Both Ryan Gaber and Xavier Chambellan had pretty good games. 13 for 17 for 269, six INTs, one 6 touchdowns, one INT. Ryan Garber, 31 for 43 on attempts, 290, 7 TDs, one INT. You had William Sabeg went 12 for 13, 119 yards, 4 TDs, so he pretty went off. Same thing for Cooper Young. Shout out to him. He's been hurt a lot. I know he just kind of tore. I think he tore his ACL twice, so he had a pretty good game. 9 for 12, 104 yards, 2 TDs. So they kept up. Both teams are scoring. It seems like going to the play by play because I didn't stay for the full game. I ended up leaving. Um, it seems like yeah. So Trap Stars score. They're down by one. They go for the 2 point convert. So Trap Stars score the last play of the game. They go for the 2 point convert to win, and it's unsuccessful. So they could have won for the tie, which is, I don't understand why teams go for the win when there's overtime. Like if I was me, like yeah, you want to go for the win, but you might as well just bring it to overtime at the end of the day because you still have to go to like yeah, you win the game, but you have overtime for a reason. Plus, they were doing pretty good at their converts at 1 point. They went 3-1-1, so they literally got five extra points where they went for the 1 point. So they're pretty successful for 1 point converts, and then they go for two and they miss it. I feel they should have won for one. I know everyone's different regarding that situation. Kind of let's go for the two, let's win the game, but it's the reason why we have overtime, right? It's a kind of saying you have an extra point kick in the NFL or CFL, whatever. You're not going to go, okay, guys, let's go for two to win the game. Like, no, you go for the one, you get the 1 point, then you go to overtime and you try to win in overtime instead of just trying to win it now, where the one a kick and extra points different, but the fact that your success rate was so high, getting already five, so pretty much the 721, um, that's what 35. So five TDs where you get so half of your TDs that you already scored, you got the extra points. So you might as well should have won for one. But again, it is what it is. Goons gets the win 48-47, and they're going to the championship game. And then you had Sleeping All Stars versus Killer Rays, where I thought Sleeping All Stars, after their game playing balls deep, winning 35-8, I thought they were going to take this easily. But instead, Killer Rays take it down 30-18. I do have to say, I believe Sleeping Stars were missing some players. I believe their roster were only 6 guys, right? So yeah, they were missing some players. They're only 6 guys compared to Killer Rays, where there were about 8. So they kind of had more of a roster, which is unfortunate because again, it is what it is. Sometimes things happen where guys can't make games. That's why you try to get as much games guys eligible to play. So you don't get a situation where you have to have 6 guys. You only have 6 guys to play because if one guy does get hurt or someone's late, it does affect you. So it seems like I just feel like Sleeping All Stars didn't have enough firepower going to this game. They scored 12 in the first half, 6 in the second half. So again, I feel like maybe they're kind of tired going into it. Um, they score 12 and then 6, but playing only 6 guys is kind of a lot, especially during the season. I believe there are more than 6. I know that for a fact. They're probably 8 or 9. So it's a bit different when you're only 6. You're kind of running after guys. You're playing offense, defense. You're running fades. You're running after the ball. You're deflagging. It's a lot, right? And Killer Rays is also a team it's a veteran team. They've been in this league in a while. Their quarterback has a very good concept how he runs his offense. So I feel like they both quarterbacks did throw 3 INTs as well, but I feel like Having a deeper roster did help a lot in this game. That's why Killer Rays did win. Got the W here. So going into so they get the win, they punch their ticket, and then we have Goons versus Killer Rays, where I think it's going to be a very good game. Goons is probably one of the most athletic teams in this division. It comes to a point where if they catch you sleeping, not playing deep, are your corners kind of cheating? The quarterback's going to kind of just launch the ball, make his guy make a play. They have athletes all around on this team, so it's kind of to a point where if you also miss a tackle, are you well as again miss a flag, it's probably going to go for six. So Killer Rays have a big job on their hands, where their defense is going to have to come clutch this year. Going to the season, they allowed 315 points a game, so they're average they're allowing 30 plus points a game. So they're gonna have to make sure they come into this ready and have a game plan for these young stud athletes. Because again, Killer Rays have a good offense. They scored 357, but if it's gonna be a shootout, I think Goons are gonna have upper hand on it. But we're gonna see. We're gonna talk about it next week. Me and Brent when we talk about the championship games. So I'm gonna go into Division Three. There we go. So schedule. So I believe we had backfield penetration versus Bruins, where backfield just destroyed the Bruins. It feels like there's a couple clips on Instagram that just got actually posted today, where back. I just feel like backfield was able to do whatever they wanted. Um, so it seems Rico. Welcome back, Brent. So I'm just talking about Division Three right now. I'm basically kind of saying that backfield destroyed Bruins. It feels like Rico was not comfortable in this game at all. He went 8 for 18, 90 yards, 2 TDs, and 4 INTs. I just feel like talent wise, um, backfield just had too much to offer regarding Bruins' run going into this game, and that's the reason why the score is the way it is. And then Barzili um, had a yeah, Barra. Sorry, Barra. I don't know. I try to pronounce his last name, but he went 19 for 23 for 210 yards, 7 TDs. So I mean, he had an amazing game. His cast around is pretty. I think they probably have the best. They have the best receiving core going into this. You have Jalen Reeves. You have Raf also. Raf is a rusher, but he can make some
He's a
plays when you
receiver
put him
too.
as a
Yeah,
receiver. You have
definitely, definitely.
Nicholas Coprini. You have Joseph. Anthony Lazare is also a big body too. And then you have Ronnie. Um, you have pretty much athletes from up and down to a point where you can't even play man to man on them because they're probably going to burn you. And if you end up playing a zone, Barra to a point where he's been in this league for a while that he's able to read a lot of zones. And he's also a runner too, So
Yeah, he can run. He can
he
run.
didn't run this game, but he's the type of quarterback where he will roll out and make a certain pass. So I just feel like this game they kind of just overwhelmed Bruins, and that's a fact. The reason why a quarterback like Ruko, the fact that he threw 4 INTs kind of showed you that backfield wasn't playing around, and they took care of business.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with Berra, obviously Alessandro Berrazzoni. When he's comfortable, when he's in his rhythm, he's hard to stop because he's a
Mhm.
good quarterback. He's a smart quarterback. Like you said, he could beat teams with his arms. He could beat teams with his legs. It's when you get him rattled and when you get him off balance, when you have to make him rush his throws. I had a chance to score keep their game against was it the B ballers? I want to say it's the B ballers. Anyways, I forget, he was playing. No, I think it's the wrong division. Actually, my apologies. He was playing against Isaiah Lard. I'm just trying to remember the team. Because I know Barra was a quarterback. Anyways, it'll come to me after. And Isaiah Lard had, I think 4 sacks in the first half. I think he ended up with 5 in that game, and he was throwing Barra off his rhythm. And it wasn't until Barra figured out how to beat the rush, how to kind of get away from the long reach and the speed of Allard. Then he started to get comfortable and find his rhythm, and his team ended up coming back to win that game. So that's the thing, right? As we saw against the Bruins, right? The Bruins, they're a good team. That is rushing wise. If it's not like Gab Wiseman, if he's not getting there, they don't really have an answer. And Barra is able to find finest receivers, because you mentioned, right, they have a really deep receiving crew, arguably the best in Division 3. They have size, they have speed as well, right? And they got some neutropenia in that, and it's just they can come at you in waves. So if you could get Barra again out of his rhythm, out of his comfort zone, you have a chance. But if you can't, like the Bruins couldn't, that's going to be the result more often than not.
Yeah, but 48-12, it's
Yeah, listen, for 48-12, it is what it is. Like Rocco Cristiano, unfortunately, he just didn't show up. It was just,
yeah.
it
Like
wasn't good.
if I asked you, like if I'd said, okay, give me a prediction. Like I don't think your aim would be. If I told you, I'm like,
no,
oh,
no,
Brent,
no.
back. Oh, sorry, even better. If I'm like, oh, Brent, Backfield's going to win by 36 points, you'd think I'm crazy. You think I know? You must know
Mhm.
something that I don't know too.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%, 100%. You're right. Listen, credit to the entire, not just Barra, like credit to the entire team. Like backfield penetration, like we talked about it a lot, right? They're a team that can win it all. They're gonna have a chance, obviously, next Sunday. It's their problem is they have to stay out of their own way, and I'm talking about taking stupid penalties and getting guys either ejected or getting guys all season. That if you're able to stop the talking and just focus on playing, I don't think anybody can beat them. They don't make mistakes. They're a
Yeah,
really tough team to beat, and that's what backfield penetration part of me was about against the Bruins. Who on the flip side, they like to chat a lot too. Not everybody, but certain players on the team like to chat a lot. But then when you make those mistakes and you compound that with the five ints, that's going to be
yeah,
the result as well.
yeah. Okay,
Uh,
so that goes it for that game, and then we had Idaho,
Stoics,
Idaho,
Ida
Idaho,
Pimps, yeah, you the
Pimps,
whole
yeah,
Ida
versus the
Pimps
Codex. So
against
I
the
don't
Stoics. The
remember.
Stoics,
I don't remember if you. I don't know if you remember, but remember I said who was going to be the dark horse this
yeah,
year?
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
100%. That you're
yeah,
spot on. You're spot on.
yeah. I said Chris
You're spot on.
Rivet. He's gonna
Yep.
he could be him. Chris Rivet is the type of quarterback too. When he's on, he's on. His
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Sometimes when he
Yeah.
throws the ball, you kind of look at him like, yo, this guy's really throwing the ball like that, but it works, and he knows what he's doing, right? I've been in a huddle, I've played with Chris, and he understands how flag works, and he understands how he uses players, and he understands play calling. And again, I would say the number two best offensive receivers is on the Stoics. They have
Yeah.
Emerson,
Yeah.
they have James, they have Tyson, they have Justin, they have Noah. They have
Yeah, it's true.
probably the youngest, I would say the youngest squad because Emerson's 18, James is about 21, Tyson, I want to say he's young too. Justin, Noah, these kids are,
You'll be
I think they
16, I
average,
think.
I think they're averaging maybe 18, 19 years old max. Like if you take them all together, and then you have a veteran Chris, where kind of it's like, okay, a lot of his concepts are either levels or a lot of crossing, right? So if
That's
you're able to
exactly, exactly.
give these guys crossing routes where they catch the
Yeah,
ball and then it's just green in front of them, they have one guy to miss, it's effective.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and again, if you play man on them, there's not a lot of guys, especially when you have James Dress on your team. If you're playing man on him, you have to make sure your defender can play man on him, right? Even if it's
yeah,
small routes, right? Let's just say it's third and 8, third and 6, third and 5, right? He doesn't mean he has to beat you deep. He could beat you on a go stop, like a hook or like a double move, or he's very crafty. He's very crafty in his position, right? So I feel like they're. I think I would also. I would give them the number two best receiving squad,
okay.
just because just the veteran aspects from backfield. I feel like they have a veteran team. By veteran, I mean like they're older, right? So they're
Yeah,
kind of they're kind of used to more of the concepts. They have I believe they have Jalen. They have the two guys, Ronnie. Those guys are university players from Montreal. So
yeah,
again, I think they're running backs, but I mean, you're on your running back, you're still a receiver, you still get the concepts like that. So but yeah, Stoics are the real deal. They came into this game. They were down going to halftime.
yeah.
They kind of put it together and they end up winning 34-30. Chris had an amazing game, 20 for 24, 186 yards, 5 TDs. Um, and yeah, and Simon Deschenais, he also had a really good game too. 23 for 28, 195, 198, 5 TDs, 1 INT. Marvin had a good game. Christine Christina or Christina.
Pedroza. Christian
Yeah,
Pedroza.
he had a good game too. 7%, 43 yards, three TDs. So I mean, it was a good. It seems like it was a good game. It wasn't a blowout. It seems both teams did a lot. And also, but one thing I do say that Stoics had two converts that they got for two extra points. So that's 4 points right there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah.
I think that also that's one of the game changers. Idaho didn't get any converts. They didn't score any converts as well. So I mean that didn't help them.
So,
I also want to
so
see. Yeah, so Brady did not throw this
yeah,
game,
Brady didn't
right? So
throw.
that's
It was
also
Simon.
yeah, so that's also something to kind of look at the fact that Brady wasn't there. But again, how we always say it, playoffs, it becomes you kind of have to. I think as I think we talked about it, he knew he was going to miss this game.
Yep.
So Simo's a great quarterback. He's been the quarterback for Jagger Bombs for the past I want to say like
Forever,
decade.
for at least decade. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's been there for a while. So I mean, they're in good hands. He knows his play calling. He knows his stuff. So I mean, again, I'm pretty. Maybe Brady would have had a better game. Maybe if Brady did play, the results would have been different. But it is what it is. Stuff happens,
Yeah.
and you just have to adapt, and it's next guy up, right?
Well, I hear you. I
So
hear you. I mean, one thing about that though, so the 2 points you brought up that are really good. You talked about, yeah. So Brady wasn't there. Simon filled in for him. Simon threw last week in the quarterfinal game where they beat. And here they ended up beating the Super Daddies 34-29, and obviously he threw in the loss to the Stoics. The only difference, obviously, so Brady, plays with this team in Div 2, plays with this team in Div 3. Obviously, Idaho Ida Pimps and then Idaho U the Pimps. They changed their names for the two different divisions. Obviously, right now we're talking about Division 3. So they scored last week again, led by Simon Deschênes, 34 points, and then they scored 30 this past week. With Brady though in the lineup, the team averages 41 a game. So that's a drop off, right? Of at least a touchdown right there, right? So there's that.
yeah, but
It's not huge.
yeah,
It's
but
not
it's
huge.
also playoffs. Sometimes you don't get your exact playoff
Yeah,
thing because you're
that's
also
true.
playing
That's true. That's
better
true.
teams as well.
You're
But
playing better
I
teams
get what
and
you're just saying.
defense.
It is a drop off. It is an extra touchdown drop off and converts as well too. I also
Yeah,
think converts have something really big to do with that because he
100%.
didn't get any converts. I'm not sure what
That's it.
they did last week in converts, but you get zero converts, so you score. How does that even make sense? Did they pick off an extra point? Six. Oh no. So they score. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, five touchdowns, no
Yeah.
converts. So it comes to a point where Chris threw five touchdowns
But they
as
got
well,
two-point convos, right? So that's an extra 4 points, and that's the
but they
game
got
right
the converts. So
there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's the
So
that's the that's
so
the changing point right there.
I want to challenge you on something you said. So you talked about the Stoics possibly being the second best receiving team before we talked about backfield penetration. I'm actually going to give the edge, I think, to the Stoics in terms of best receiving core and not taking anything away from guys like Nick Ropini, obviously one of the top receivers in the league, no matter what division. Anthony Lazaro, like I said, big body guy, big play guy. He's clutch. He's a guy who works kind of like that tight end role over the middle. He can take it deep too. He's clutch. Rakendi Joseph. They have a lot of talent on that team. I'm going to say the Stoics, and for this simple reason. You have James Drysdale, right? Drysdale, some people think he's the best player in all of FPF. You could definitely make that argument. I think at the very worst, he's top 3, maybe top 4 at the worst. So you have Emerson Peterkin, right? We talked about before, obviously. Emerson and Tyson. Tyson plays for Champlain. Pardon me, Tyson plays for Vanier. Emerson starting quarterback at Champlain. Their dad obviously is a legend, right? Their dad is Andy Peterkin. He's a referee. He plays in a 35 plus, phenomenal player. His mind for flag football is like in another world. He's the Kevin Wyeth of all of flag, not just talking about FPF. And if you don't know, look up Andy Peterkin. Go talk to him. He'll let you know for sure. A great mind, great football family, right? And then you talked about obviously Justin and Noah. Didn't get their last names. Swim in the hand. Obviously, so they're the kids that got him a former player for the X-Men team back in the day. He coaches them. He's always on the sideline.
Yeah.
Again, these families are football families, right? Especially flag football families. So Justin and Noah, great kids and great athletes, right? And they're getting better and better. I think they're both under 18, whereas Emerson and Tyson, I think they're both 18, 19. Emerson
Yeah.
20.
And then
I think
James is like
Emerson's like a year
22.
older. Yeah. James is a young cat too, right? So and like you said, with the offense with Chris, like you talked about the levels and all the crossing. I played against Chris a million times, and like you said, you played with him. I've had tons of football conversations with Chris. Like you're right, it's all levels and beating your man one on one underneath, and it works to the favor of those speedy young receivers, right? And again, not taking anything away from backfield penetration, which will be the matchup in the finals that we'll get to next week. But I just think the Stoics might have a little bit of a slight advantage in the receiving.
What are you saying? With is that with Chris? Or are you saying just all around the five guys, right? Because you
Oh,
can.
no, that's not the five guys. No, just the five guys. No,
Okay, so
five guys.
who's who snaps for Stoics? Is it Noah?
I think it's one of the yes. It has to be one of them. It's either Noah or Justin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either no. Yeah, it's either yeah. Emery's definitely not.
Okay.
Emerson, it's definitely not James.
A better question, right? I have a question for you. So, okay, if you had to pick a receiver, right? Would you rather James or Jalen?
Oof, good question. I mean, Jalen's a beast, man.
Because you have James at speed and kind of it's.
Jalen's
I'm gonna let you answer. I'm gonna let you.
That's a good question, man. I mean, I'm cool with both of them. They're both good dudes. So it's funny. James has never played tackle. He told me when I met him a couple years ago. He told me he never played tackle.
No, he played for Greenfield, the junior team for like half a season, but nothing like other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
So, so let's just say you're recruiting for your team, right? You're recruiting for the commission. Yeah, you're recruiting for the commission, right? And you need a top receiver, okay? And you have the option to get James.
Okay.
Or you get Jalen. Which one are you taking?
Okay, so you know what? I played against James only once in my career in FPF. 3 summers ago, we had Mike Pearson. It was actually last play of the game. Mike Pearson knocked the ball, I think, out of James's hand. I mean, that's a bit of PI, but whatever. So I'm 1-0 against James. I never played against Jalen. Good question, man.
You've seen these guys play. You watch them. You're a rapper.
I've seen Jalen in flag. I've seen Jalen in tackle. Obviously, former Concordia Stinger, and he played on Team Canada, I believe, this past year. He's doing it right now.
Yeah, just a couple weeks.
Yeah,
ago.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna say, man, I'm gonna say
they're both different.
They're different receivers, 100%. Different receivers, 100%. They both have speed. James will beat you deep. Jalen, well, he can beat you deep and catch the ball. He can mosh you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say James only for the simple reason that he's in flag 24/7, whereas Jalen's playing flag but also playing tackle, and tackle has still more of a priority than flag because he's trying to go somewhere with tackle, whereas James is just I'm a flag guy.
Okay, so if let's just say if regardless of that,
okay,
you're choosing them just for what they are right now. Doesn't matter. We're not who they're playing. Jalen's playing tackle. James is only playing flag. Just for who they are right now.
Okay. Well, who do you have? Who would you pick?
I would take Jalen, and the only reason why I would take Jalen is because I think Jalen would offer me a bit more than what James would offer me. I feel like as a defender, especially for a defender for me, I feel like it'll be easier for me to defend James than it is to defend Jalen. Just because James is a type of guy where he'll burn you on a 40, like straight through, he'll eat you. When he has his double routes too, he'll destroy you. But Jalen's the same type of receiver like that. But when it comes to radius and I need you to go get that ball for me, I'm putting Jalen up for there, right? And no offense, James has a crazy vertical. He can get up there as well, but Jalen he's just a bigger body. That's all it is. He's a bit more physical. He's just a bigger body. It's harder to get hands on him. It's harder to do certain stuff to him compared to James, where because James also didn't play that contact type of football. I feel like it's a bit easier to defend him as it is compared to Jalen.
Right.
It's not a big gap. I'm not giving it a big gap. I'm saying it's not. They're not that much off. But if someone's like pick a receiver or recruit a receiver, either Jalen or James, I'm thinking Jalen.
Okay. All right. No, that's fair, man. That's fair. Okay. You may be able to sway me. It's that contact. Like I find, I'm sure you experience the same thing. Like guys that have never played tackle before, Not to say they're not tough. Some guys are definitely tough that only play flag, but it's having that tackle background, that tackle experience that
Yeah.
you
Well,
know
you,
that
well,
toughness.
yeah, well, you see it like to like, okay, for me, let's just say for as a DB, right?
Yeah,
I will press you or I'll get a hand on you.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're someone that's good, like you, I've pressed guys where it comes to a point where, yeah, some of them complain, but some of them literally look at me right in my eyes and be like, all right, it's gonna be a game like this, like not complaining to
Exactly.
the ref, not, and then you're like, okay, no, this guy's locked in. But the point of me doing that is I'm trying to get you to get off your game. I want you to go to the
Exactly.
ref and
Get
complain.
physical.
I want you
Exactly.
exactly. I want you to be like, "Yo, ref, he's grabbing me." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm grabbing you." Like, come, keep
Exactly.
complaining. Like, but if
Exactly.
you look at me and you're like, "All right, it's gonna be a game like that," I'm just like, "Okay, this guy's locked. He's locked in. Like, he knows. Like, he understands. That I think that's the difference between flag players and tackle players. Where like, yeah, it is flag. You aren't supposed to get contact, but uh, refs can't see everything. Same thing regarding tackle as well for pass interference, for holding. They
Oh
can't see
God,
everything, so it's part. It ends up being part of the game.
100%. Like the stuff you get away with, man, in tackles is great. I miss it. Yeah, no, 100%. Referees can't see everything, and we're not playing soccer, right? No offense to the soccer guys and soccer ladies out there. We're not playing soccer. It's not ballet. It's football. It's a physical sport. Yeah, you're not supposed to have contact and flag, but there is. It is what it is, right? I mean, you have to bring some physicality to the game, whether you're a lady, whether you're a guy. It should be expected, right?
Yeah.
It's not pickleball.
Mm-mm. But yeah. Anyways, I would take Jalen again. You said James. Again, I don't think it's a big drop off. I think they're like very close regarding each other. They give different aspects to a point, right? Like James, I could see James run 10, 40-yard dashes, right? Try to get the ball, and also James also rushes too. I mean,
Yeah,
depends.
yeah, it's true.
It's different as we're
True.
talking about defense now a bit too, but I mean, like they both give different things.
Yeah,
Um,
if you have one of them on your team, you're definitely like you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. So going into the finals, I mean, championship finals is going to be a good game. I
Exciting.
think this is probably if you have to ask me, uh, is this like probably two of the best teams to choose? I would say yeah. I think Idaho also would have been a good pick as well.
Yeah,
Um, with Brady though, I would rather have Brady see Brady in the
yeah,
finals.
yeah.
He's the person that brought his team to be 10-0. But I feel like we're gonna have a really good finals with these two teams.
I think Brady was supposed to be back if they made the finals. I remember talking to Vinny Golano about that because Vinny was actually supposed to throw. It wasn't supposed to be Simone, and
Okay.
he decided to have Simone throw because obviously with Yaker Bobby Stone and he's the receiver on the team, so on and
Mhm.
so forth.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep to your basics.
All
But
right, let's hop over to sorry.
yeah, just to keep to your basics. The guys that
Yeah,
you've been
exactly,
tracking. Yeah.
exactly. All right, man.
So
Let's hop over to
Division
D2.
Two. Yeah. So you have Easy W versus Silent Ticklers.
I was wrong. I
Again.
was wrong on that.
Um.
I was
Sorry.
I was completely wrong in that in my article.
Yeah. Well,
I,
the
I
thing
had
is crazy.
ECW in my head and I talked myself out of it because it sounded like
Yeah.
this has been on a roll.
To be honest with you, I'm surprised. Again, we have there's a couple posts that they post on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I
They have a
saw,
little
I
highlight
saw,
reel. I
I
just feel like
saw.
EasyW was able to do whatever they wanted. I feel like Jeremy looked very comfortable. A lot of his throws. Uh, their big bodies are making big catch. They're getting the jump balls or the balls that were kind of contested. They're catching it. It just seems like
Yeah,
they're doing whatever they wanted. Silent Ticklers seems like they're kind of struggling a bit. Jordan threw an interception to I think it's Nico or what's his name. I saw in the video he threw. I'm not sure. Maybe it was onside or like that, but he threw a ball where he kind of just threw right to him. He kind of didn't move. He was in a coverage. Ball just landed right to him, and it just seemed like it seemed like it was not going it wasn't going their way. The fact they lost 42 to
20,
22,
yeah, 20 points.
and no disrespect to Easy W, but their defense is not they're not a top five defense, So
Not at
the
all.
fact
Not
that
at all.
Silent Tickers only dropped 22, it's weird. So I mean, again, Easy W it's a it's a high power offense. So I'm not surprised seeing 42 on their side, but the fact that Silent Tickers only scored 22 that's surprising.
Listen, 100%. I agree with you. I know my article last week I wrote. I think I had Silent Ticklers in the upset. I think I had it 45-42 or 48-45 then, specifically because the ECW defense, like I said, it's not a top five defense. They have a lot of talented players, but they give up a ton of points. they scored a lot of points, but again, they gave up a lot. So I thought the Silent Ticklers were on a roll. They beat up Diamond Bougie last week. Diamond Bougie does have a good defense. They dropped 33 on them. They knocked out. They scored 48 on Idaho U, the Pimps, and this the Silent Ticklers seem to kind of find their niche, find their vibe, especially offensively at the end of the season. I was worried about the Silent Ticklers. This is why mid-season when I released that article of contenders, pretenders, and we're not sure yet. I had the Silent Ticklers, I believe in, and we're not sure yet because I've seen these games out of the Silent Ticklers where you think they're going to smoke somebody or at least make it competitive or get the W, and then they crap the bed. And listen, Silent Ticklers, I know a lot of the guys on the team, they're good dudes. It's just, it is what it is. Like, they got beat by 20 points. And it was just, I find when they're on, they're on. But when you have this and they start turning over the ball, that's when they get into trouble. And you saw right there, like, the halftime score was 30-14. It was only 12-8 in the second half in favor of VCW, but that game essentially was over at halftime.
Yeah, usually when you're up by that much, like
Exactly.
you feel comfortable enough.
Exactly.
Both teams are still trying, but the competitive kind of goes down to a point.
That's it. Shut up, by the way. So Jeremy White, like you said, right? 22 of 28, 6 touchdown passes, 4 of them went to Alex Barros. Barros is like, he's been a beast all year. I think he was kind of under the radar in terms of a lot of the top players that we all mentioned in Division Two. But Alexander Barros, stud, 4 touchdowns in that game to help his team punch that ticket to the final. So congrats to ECW. Again, this makes it, I believe, now 8 wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken, for that team. They are the hottest team in Division Two.
Yeah, they're hot right now. Jeremy kind of just after their week 2, I think they start 0-2, right?
0-3. They were 0-3.
0-3, yeah. They just kind of they turned it up and they haven't looked back. Then we have Fins Up versus Dirty Birds, where it ended up 32-26. So Quade Johnson went 21 for 35, 171 yards, 5 TDs, 2 INTs. Will Power 19 for 31, 156, 4 TDs, 1 INT. So Dirty Birds, they threw more INTs, but I believe they got a couple stops on defense, which sure makes sense. They had a lot of PDs. They had 8 PDs in total. So I mean, they were getting to the ball. Jamal Noel had 2 sacks. Shout out to Jamal. Probably one of the new rushers that just came into the league.
Yep.
Super fast.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like their defense, 19 for 31 for Power, 156 yards, 4 TDs, 1 INT. Again, as I said, I'm pretty sure Dirty Birds had some 4th down stops against Fins Up. So they're again. Dirty Birds coming into the playoffs. In the regular season, they're ranked number 1 defense, and there's a reason why there's a reason why they're ranked number 1 defense. So they showed it at the game, and Quay Johnson did a pretty good job. 5-8 again, 2 INTs. It's a lot, but he still got 5 TDs, and he was able to get. He was able to win the game.
Yeah, I know he connected with his dad Lonnie for a touchdown in that contest too. So obviously the Johnson and Johnson connection.
Yeah,
through in that game.
Yeah, exactly. Also, shout out to James Tyrell, right? Only 3 catches for 19 yards, but 2 TDs, right? Because Dirty Birds lost James O'Hayan. He had I think his quad. Something happened to his quad. It was a bad injury. So the fact that they're able to get, I think they used the IR to get James Tyrell. So that's a big step. Like it's not a huge jump, but it helps them as well a lot. The fact that they did get James Tyrell into the playoffs, because if they didn't have James Tyrell, I mean, they would have had to. I believe they would have used Marquez. As their other receiver, right? So again, he's a more defender guy. So the fact that they did get a big boy like James Terrell to come help them into the playoffs is pretty big, because when you have Anthony Breezewell, you have Jamal Noel, you have James Terrell, you have Lonnie, that's a veteran snapper. It's been in the league for a while, and then you have Matt Bond, also a veteran player where he plays more defensively, but he understands the loopholes in a defense. Reason why his stats are, he had 8 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. So they have a pretty good receiving core right now. And the fact that they lose James O'Hayan, but they gain James Terrell. So it helps a lot for them.
It's a solid. There's definitely no subtraction there. Listen, James Harrell, former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, spent a couple years in the CFL. I think he has two great cup rings. I know he has one for sure. It might actually be two. So yeah, definitely, if you can have James go, you bring in the other James for James. Why not? It works out for the Dirty Birds. So congrats to them on punching their ticket to the finals.
Yeah,
Again, so they'll be
it's
taking
gonna
on
be
East. I'm looking forward to again. Listen, so you play in this division. These have been the two best teams in Division Two. I think
yeah.
at least the midway point of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I think for sure, especially the fact that how ECW finished their season two and Dirty Birds kind of
Yeah,
they're kind of steady going the whole way from being the
yeah,
top. They kind of stayed the top.
exactly,
They had one pretty bad. They had a loss, but it wasn't. Again, we also always say it's always good to get the first loss out the way and you kind of just continue during your season. But
exactly.
this is going to be a good game. I'm excited to talk about it next week. About you, kind of see the pros and the cons because right now it kind of would seem you have the top offensive team versus the top defensive team, right? So we're gonna have battle of the defense, battle of the offense. So it's gonna be very interesting seeing both these teams play in the finals to kind of seeing if defense is going to win or if it's usually we say defense wins championships, right? So it's going to be very interesting if ECW kind of could change that and they could drop average. I think ECW to win this game, they're going to have to drop at least 40. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll get into that one next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Let's hop over to Division One. We have the Braves. So I scored at both of these games. Obviously, the Braves knocking down Run It twice. Unfortunately, by a score of third. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game here. So I was looking at the Royal Luminaire and Flying Side game. I scored kept that game as well. But yeah, so whatever. Twice, unfortunately for you guys, losing to the Braves. I mean, I scored kept that game. Jeff Rosenblatt, obviously the quarterback, just too many picks. And
Yeah.
yeah, you played in the game, so you would know, right? Too many picks.
Yeah, exactly. Too many picks. Just a bad start. Usually for this, especially a team like the Braves, like you have to come out firing. Like if they score, you have to score. If they stop, you have to make a stop. If they get a batted pass, you got to get a batted pass. They get interception, you got to get interception. It has to be a blow for blow. You know, a lot of these teams,
Yeah,
and I think that's like Division One. That's how it has to be. If a team gets momentum, you need to take back the momentum, and if you don't, it becomes a shit show. And that's pretty much what this game was. It came to a point where I believe they scored. They scored and they picked us off, and they scored and then they picked six us. And then by that point, I think it was like 22-0. So it's hard
yeah,
to kind
yeah,
of come back after that. And they have all the momentum going on their side, you know? We had a point where we had the ball in the red zone. I think it was 22-0 at that point. We had the ball in the red zone. We were about to score and we get picked off in the end zone. So, like,
yeah. That was a bad breaker. I think that was a bad
yeah,
breaker.
exactly. Like coming back from 22, it's hard. Coming back from 28, it's pretty much impossible. You know, like
Yeah,
so. But no, they played a good game again. The Braves are probably one of the one teams that if you have a bad day, they're going to take advantage of you. You have to make sure you're on your A game, and if you're not on your A game, you're most likely going to lose. So that's what happened to us. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. And yeah, and
I,
then
so that's what I'm asking. So, okay, obviously, listen, Jeff's the captain of your team. Running twice is his team. Listen, I'm a believer when you get to the playoffs, man. You got to put the egos aside. You got to put the feelings aside. I know Paul came in for you guys. He scored, I think, on his first drive of the game for you guys. Obviously, he went 3 of 6 for like one TD and one INT. Just wasn't
yeah,
Jeff's day. Did you guys maybe consider maybe talking to Jeff, or did Jeff maybe even approach you guys and be like, hey, maybe start the second half. I should come out of this
but
game, or
yeah. Well,
even
Jeff,
before
the
that.
thing is, Jeff. One thing I have to do say with Jeff, Jeff doesn't like to lose, right? You may
Yeah.
not see it, but Jeff's a winner. That's what he's the thing. He's a winner. He's a player, right? So Jeff's always if he's gonna come to the game, he's always locked in. He wants to win, right? So the fact that he was playing bad, like he kind of told himself, he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take myself out. But then he's like, okay, no, I want to score. Like I'm not coming here to not score a touchdown, you know. So
100%,
um,
100%.
I just think, to be honest with you, the biggest issue, like regarding like Jeff and stuff like that, just we didn't have as much chemistry. So we never like it never came in the back of my head was like, oh, okay, well we're gonna take Paul in, Jeff, like sit down and come like that. I feel like Jeff was he was the guy to kind of win this game. It just when you have a bad start the way that he did, You can't do it, right? So if you could have like 10 redos, like 10 tries, right, at this game, like there's no way he's gonna have 10 bad games, you know? Would we win 9 of the 10 games? I don't think so. Maybe we would win maybe like 3 out of 4, you know. But the fact that the bad start he had didn't help. But I also think like he was the guy to win us that game. Like I don't think it was Paul. I don't think anyone kind of came to the back of their head like, okay, like after the first 2 drives, like okay, Jeff, like bench yourself now. You know, I don't think that came. I don't think that came the back of someone's head or like that. I think after like the third pick six, I think that's it. Kind of was like, okay, Jeff, like let Paul go now, you know. But other than that, I think it was like he was the guy. He was supposed to bring us to victory, but didn't happen.
I will say in Jeff's defense, even Paul's, I know there was some drops. I know Jerome dropped a couple passes as did Danik, but I mean, it just seemed like the offense just instead of sync the entire game, so it's not just one person's fault. It's
Yeah. Yeah,
like
exactly. It's like as we said, it's like a domino effect, right? Like he gets a drop, he gets a drop. It's like you throw a pick, they score, then we come off, drop, pick six, get on the field, we get a completion, incomplete pass, drop pass, pick. You know, it's just like it's a
exactly.
domino effect. It goes worse to worse to worse to worse. You know, like you kind of have to have a steady drive to get back that to get back that motivation,
Right. That
and
makes sense. Makes sense.
we just didn't have it.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so that was the Braves beating Run It twice, 39-14, and then we had Royal versus Flag Moi, which is as again you score kept that game. I stayed to watch that game.
Much
That
closer.
was a good game.
Listen, that game was great as we all expected. It went down to the wire. Obviously, Flagmore sack, winning on the last play of the game. The brother connection, Alex Nadeau Priest to his brother Samuel for the 1 yard TD. Uh, yeah, man, that game, a lot of trash talking. I know one of the players. I'm just trying to see who it is here. I don't have the tablet in front of me. Got to see who it was. Got kicked out of the game for 10
Oh, that
plays.
was Guillaume Paquette.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, Guillaume Paquette got kicked off for 10 plays. Yeah, it's just again a great game. So for Fly One Sack, obviously they beat the All Stars the week before, right? And another game that went down to the wire where Flagmore was able to win on the last play of the game. They take that momentum and now they do it to Royaume Luminaire, and it's funny because I mean like it's like a heavyweight fight anytime Division 1 teams, your team included, right, enters into the playoffs, and it's always you expect a lot of these closer games, and we got one of the game of the year candidates. And this one we see, like I'm looking at the play-by-play right now. So Jesse Dupuis obviously he had a 9 yard touchdown pass to give his team the late lead.
Yeah,
And
29 seconds.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Flagmont got the ball back with 4 plays left, and yeah, Paquet, who you talked about, 20 yard reception on first down. Then the brother connection, Alex to Sam, 13 yard gain. And then Sam for another 11 yard gain got tackled by AJ at the 1 yard line to set that winning TD up. And again, like I said, Sam Nadeau please getting the game winning touchdown 1 yard. They ended W. So now it's the Braves against Flamand Sac for the Division 1 championship next week.
Which is like again, no complaints here. I feel like that's going to be a very good game.
Exactly.
Just going kind of back. Question for you. Going kind of back. I was talking to Jesse, right? So Jesse had I think a 9 yard rushing touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
11 yard rush touchdown. I think it was 9 or 11 yards, whatever. If you're Jesse, right, and you know let's just say before before the ball is snapped, there's 35 seconds left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you scoring on that run, or are you taking a knee down with the 20? You're taking a knee down?
Yeah, I've had this talk with Kevin Wyatt before a couple of years ago, and he said the same thing too. Like, don't give your opponents any time left.
Yeah,
run the ball down.
I always find it like I get that, and it's kind of the reason why our Division 2 team kind of lost, because kind of same situation for us where our player Nick he caught the ball, he could have scored. He basically scored untouched. He could have took a knee. There's 40 seconds left, but I feel like I do get the running clock situation where the non-running, the stop clock. I know, like, so it's a bit time, like 30 seconds actually could be like 3 minutes, you know. Yeah, regarding how how timeouts are used, or how you get out of bounds, or how fast the refs are. Well, but like if someone asked me, like, would you rather score a touchdown now or go on the one, risk not scoring, but the team only has 29 seconds left to score a 40-yard touchdown. Like in my head, like you shouldn't. First of all, teams shouldn't score in 29 seconds in general. Like it shouldn't. That shouldn't be a.
That
That
is
shouldn't
true.
be
That
a
is true.
thing
Yep.
coming down the stretch, especially when it comes down to the last few plays. Like okay, guys, don't get beat deep. It's kind of like in the concept, right? Like so, it's kind of like some teams tell me like, oh yeah, like I shouldn't need them. I'm just like, but why? Like in your head, you guys should feel comfortable unless your defense is just horrible. But in
Yeah.
this case, I'm like, you should feel comfortable being able to stop them for those 30 seconds, because 30 seconds is technically like 4 or 5 plays, right? So it's
No, I
like,
hear you. I hear you. There's 100%. I agree with you that you should score. I understand what Kevin was saying, like, and obviously you do as well. I can see your point of scoring, but like, listen, your defense is your defense. You should be able to get a stop. I figured, listen, if it's take the knee at the one and you have one play to score, no, absolutely not. I'm
no,
not risking
no,
that.
no.
But I'm thinking if you have, I don't know, 3 plays from the one, you should be able to score. I can see taking it. Like if it's 4 plays from the one, you take that knee, you bring it to 3 plays. I can understand that. But if it's like 2 plays are left to score after your knee, no, I'm not risking that. I'm punching it into the end zone
Hmm.
because your
Yeah.
defense
So
should be able
it's
to make
just
that stop.
like I had a conversation with Nick, and he was just like, oh, I shouldn't have scored. I'm like, well, Nick, listen, you left them with 39 seconds to score. Like defensive wise, we should have stopped them.
Very
Like, I
true.
mean, like at the end of the day, I just don't find, like I feel it's a lot of time, but I also feel like it's not a lot of time. It's kind of like saying back in the day when we had the 5 plays. Like I'm fine giving a team
Yeah,
2 plays to score. Like good luck, even 5 plays to score. I'm like, okay, good luck. It's still a lot, but at the end of the day, it's still like it's 5 plays. It's still like it's a lot, but it's not a lot. Most drives go for 8, 9 plays. Like when to score a touchdown coming
sure.
down. Like 5-yard hooks like that. So it's completely different, but
Yeah.
I just don't know. Jesse was kind of complaining, saying he was kind of saying, "Oh, I shouldn't need." I'm just like, well, Jesse, give your guy 29 seconds to score. I mean, like at the end of the day, you're telling your defense, well, he's on defense, like, okay, guys, we got to make at least 3 stops where it comes to a point where it's got to get deflagged, right? And the rules are different in the 6v6 Division 1. You have to pass midfield for the time to actually stop because that's where the first down is, right? So
Exactly.
like a
Exactly.
10-yard whatever hook, and if you deflag them before that, they don't have any timeouts. The time is running. It doesn't stop how it is like Division 2, where if they get 10 yards, the refs have to kind of reset everything, and then it goes on the whistle. So I mean, like to a point where keep everything in front of you, you deflag, get an early deflag, and then they're 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. By the time they say hut, there should be maybe like 10 seconds, 15 seconds left max, and then they get past midfield, and then there's 7. So I just
Yeah.
feel like 29's like he was kind of like, again, I talked to him after the game. He was kind of complaining, saying, oh, 29 seconds, I shouldn't need. I'm just like, yeah, maybe. But again, like 29 seconds, not that, it's not a lot. I just feel like he did a good thing on scoring, but again, that's just me. They end up did losing. So I mean, like if they won, it would be like, oh, I'm so smart that I scored. But the fact that they lost, it's like, oh, I feel stupid for scoring.
Right. And I hear you. I hear you. Listen, again, your defense is there for a reason, right? You select these guys, these girls on your team to be able to make stops. That's why they're your defense, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's been the story of defense, no matter what sport it is, since the history of sports, right? Defense needs to make a stop, whether it's 28 seconds or 28 minutes. You need to make a stop. So
Yeah, exactly. Especially like it's like the beginning of the game when you start games. I'm like, okay, guys, well, like you have to play it. So I just feel like I don't know. It's a weird discussion kind of talk about where a lot of players like, oh yeah, you shouldn't need like you should give them 10 seconds and not like 29. But I'm just like it's 10, like it's 29 seconds, like it's 3 plays, 4 plays max.
yeah.
So
That 19-second difference shouldn't make or break your game or your
yeah,
season.
exactly. But yeah,
Yeah.
again, so we have Braves versus Flagmois. Again, that should be an amazing finals. Both these teams are kind of used to each other
Oh yeah.
regarding how
Oh
they
yeah.
play. So it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good Division 1 finals. Again, we're gonna talk about it next week to kind of see what we think and how we think the results are gonna be. Let's go
So,
to unless you don't.
so
I guess yeah. It's
well, I was gonna say so both women's divisions we talked about what the matchups are gonna be next week. Women's two is gonna be so chaos against actually no, so hold on, wait. Let me go back actually for a second for I shoot my mouth off here.
no.
So
So we didn't talk
yeah,
about chaos winning. Oh, we
so
did.
we did. So they
So
beat the ex cons, but the Sit the Dang game happened after our
yeah,
last
exactly.
podcast.
So
Since
Yeah,
the
so let's
games,
go to women's too. Let's kind of talk about
yeah,
that. So did you? No, you weren't. No, that was in state. That was a stat. That was Monday. City won 38-18.
18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Valhalla.
they got a big win against them. Trying to
Yeah, yeah, Valhalla. That's who they beat. I'm
yeah,
just
I'm trying
looking
to
at it
open
right
it up.
now. You know, so yeah, that was last Monday. Trying to open it up as well. Yeah, so 20-point win for the City Dean. So congrats to those ladies. They got punching their ticket. They'll be taking on Chaos next Saturday again, May 17th. Ooh, it's the late game. So the 10 p.m. game for the Women's 2 Championship in Broussard again on Saturday, May 17th. Chaos and the City Dens. They did not play each other in the regular season, so that should be a game worth
Yeah,
checking in for sure.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so 38-18.
yeah.
Thania
Oh, Athena Ryan, yeah. 6
Athena
TDs.
Ryan, yeah, 60. Yeah, she
Impressive.
had a good game. 293 yards, 60 Ds, one INT. Anuk uh, Ben Ali.
So I was waiting for it to open up. My computer's a little slow. Yeah, I
Anuk,
see four TDs. That's impressive.
yeah, 172 yards, 19 targets is kind of
Really?
crazy.
Yeah.
Also,
Wow.
that Finn too.
Yeah, 14
Uh,
targets. Jeez,
yeah,
95
that's a lot of targets, and then you have 3, 1, and 3. So I mean,
yards. Two players catching all the passes. So
yeah,
shout out to she knew who she was going to.
she
Shout
knew
out
who
to
she was going to.
yeah, shout out to the other side, the Sydney Cowett. Looking at it right here, 14 to 16 in terms of receptions. 14 receptions, 16 targets, 112 yards, one TD for her. Uh,
Yeah,
and Leanne Belanger, two TDs for her in the losing
yeah.
cause.
So I saw the end of this game because I had my code game right after it. So I saw the end of it. UCAM was pretty much just dominating most of the game, but yeah, again, both teams had coaches as well too. So that's always nice to see that. It's always nice to see that coaches are coaching players because I feel like sometimes it just take. We talked about before. It kind of takes off the distress sometimes when it regards to players, and you kind of sometimes when you're as again as a coach, I see that sometimes I see stuff that my players don't see. So it's also nice to kind of be like, oh, by the way, look at this, look at this, look at that. So we kind
Yeah,
of had a coaching
exactly,
battle
exactly,
as well. We're
exactly.
both coaches are we're both coaching there. So shout out to Citadeng for winning that game. Again, they as we said they were they punched their ticket going to the
Against
finals, and they
chaos.
actually
Yep.
and they're gonna play chaos. So that should be
Yes.
a good
Be a good
game.
one.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
Yep.
Should be.
Women's ones, we talked about this already. It's going to be the rubber match between Cayenne and Sub Zero. Sub Zero won the first meeting in week two, 34-19. Cayenne won in week four by a score of 27-26. So this would be the third and obviously final meeting of the year between those two teams. And we talked about last week, Sub Zero and Cayenne both punching their tickets in their semifinal matches, which were again played a week before, wow, our last podcast is what I'm trying to say here. Sorry, it's been a long
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
All right. Okay, so we got that. Let's hop over to again. We'll talk more about that Cayenne Sub Zero matchup next week.
yeah. Next week, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go.
co-ed three.
Co. Yeah, co.
So co-ed three is the same thing, right? So anything against Kiss My A's, we both teams obviously punched it.
We kind of briefly talked. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So we could kind of,
let's get
well,
that.
as we said again, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah,
Regarding the finals. So we'll go to Quad Two. I think they just had a couple games. So they had semifinals. Yeah. So we had Team Rocket.
yep.
Team Rocket lost versus Crazy Frogs, which is crazy. And LDN takes care of business
Red
beating
zone.
Red
Yeah,
Zone. So
yeah.
again, I thought Team Rocket was going to win it all.
Right. That's right. That's
Um,
right. You're saying it's true.
yeah, and they end up losing. So shout out to Crazy Frogs. Again, Crazy Frogs actually it's a good team. They have a lot of they have a couple females that actually play flag on university teams. So I can't see the names here, but I'm pretty sure they have a couple girls that play on Sherbrooke. Two girls that play on Sugar. One girl plays on UCAM. Other player that used to play on Concordia. I think the other one plays on Sherbrooke. So you have a couple girls that play on the Sherbrooke team, university team. So I mean, uh, they're athletes as well, you know. So co-ed two is still is pretty competitive. Same thing goes for Team Rocket as well. They had I think they had two girls that played on University of Laval on their team. But again, Crazy Frog, it's not like as again I said, it's crazy they lost, but Crazy Frog is a good team. They're not a bad team. They're also,
That's
I
it.
believe,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
Sherbrooke as well. I think a lot of their players are actually from Sherbrooke, and they come here during the spring season because a lot of them live here and they go back to school, Sherbrooke. So
Right, right.
um, yeah, shout out to them. They finished the season 6-4, and they end up making their way to the championship, beating Team Rocket, which was I feel like Team Rocket was a team to beat. So
Yeah,
they got the W there, and then you had yeah, Team Rocket. They finished 9-1 this season,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So and they beat Crazy Frogs in the season 30-12. So a little payback there.
Yeah, shoot.
And then we had LDN. Oh, did I say that? LDN? LDN played. Sorry, things just trying to open up. It's taking forever.
Yeah, just trying to find it here as well. Yes, LDM with the anyways, LDM with the W. So again, punching their tickets to the finals.
The finals, yeah. It's gonna pop up in 2 seconds. I'm just gonna.
Our
I'm
apologies.
curious to.
I'm having some of the same network problems you're having today too. I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's I maybe it's, I think actually, you know what's crazy? The schedule just came out for flag.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Schedule
yeah.
it just came out. So usually what
So
happens is it
a
becomes
lot of people right now are on Flat Plus.
yeah, tell everyone's like, oh, schedule's
Yeah,
out, so everyone's on the site and
exactly,
everyone's kind of.
exactly.
So I think that's actually the issue. To be honest with you, that's it's always like that when the schedule for the spring season came out. So yeah, so you have LDN versus Crazy Frogs. LDN played Red Zone. They won 33-25. So again, that was also a pretty good game. Um, LDN is also a really good team as well. They're
100%,
talented, they're fast, they're quick.
100%.
So
They're deep
I'm
too,
not
deep
that's
squad.
yeah, exactly. Deep squad, very deep squad. So I'm not surprised that they won this game versus Red Zone, beating them by 8. So again, LDN versus Crazy Frogs. Again, I think it's going to be a very good game. The matchup should be very good. I think on the guys' aspects, well, we're going to talk about it a bit, but I think the guys' aspects, their LDN is going to have advantage. But I think on the girls' aspects for Crazy Frogs, they're going to have advantage. So
Right, right.
it's going to be nice to see how that's going to play out.
I will say shout out to the LDN defense. So they intercepted Mark Andre Reeves, a high division quarterback. They intercepted him 3 times. So Kensley Joseph with two of those picks, and then Samuel Mumbo, who also plays quarterback for LDN as a defender, he had an interception as well. So shout out to that defense coming through to help again get them to the dance. Mark Andre Reeves, 4 TDs, like I said, 3 INTs. He did have 2 TDs, 2 INTs, pardon me, as a defender, but again, those 3 interceptions that he threw as a quarterback kind of did his team in. So yeah, LDN taking on the Crazy Frogs for the championship. I don't believe they did not play each other in the regular season, so it'll be a first time this year those two teams will go head to head. So congrats both of those teams. Again, we'll have that preview for you next week. Let's hop over to co-ed
Code
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you had Code one on Monday that just
yeah,
passed, May 5th. We had the IG team played versus Banana Nice Try. So from what I believe, IG team was kind of missing some players. I think they came out with 6 players this game.
okay,
Again, I'm
okay.
it up. So they came out with 6 players. So that did not help their it didn't help them at all. Did they have 6? They had 3. So yeah, they had 6 because Constant did not play. So they only had 6 players going into this game. Um, so I guess at the beginning, it didn't really affect them. First half was 21-20, and the second half, they only scored 6 points. So their offense kind of dropped down a bit. Lee went 14 for 25, 116 yards, 4 TDs.
Yeah,
He rushed 4 times for 70 yards. So even the fact that he did rush a lot, again, if you're playing when you're playing both ways as a quarterback, you are using a lot of energy. Sometimes it's also nice to have that extra sub there to kind of help you out. But unfortunately, they didn't really have anyone else there, so he kind of had to play the full game. And you have to make sure he's locked in compared to Banana Nice Try where they kind of had a 3-6. They had an 8-man roster. So it does
yeah,
affect it sometimes it does affect you when you only have six players when sometimes you kind of want that rest or a little breather, you know. So I think that kind of
Yeah,
had to do with it.
definitely. I mean,
And
yeah. I mean, you look at it, right? Listen, I don't want to take anything away from the ladies on the IG team because listen, there's a team they have championship pedigree. Like the IG team has won several championships. So you look at like Jean Gravel. I've seen her play. She's good. I mean, Gabrielle Poisson, one of the orange hair. I've seen her play a lot. She's good as well. But you talk about missing Constance Millard, their torn Achilles.
um,
It's huge. But you go to the other side
so
though, right? Bannon is try.
all right, so we're having kind of a little technical difficulties again. I'm not sure exactly where he was getting at, but maybe he was kind of saying that regarding Ben and Ice try, maybe I think their women athletes were just maybe a bit better, and not to take anything away from IG team. So that also does helps them out. The fact that the IG team didn't have any subs, so you couldn't put a different girl in. You kind of had to roll with your six players the full game. So again, if that seems for me, I think that's kind of reasonable. It kind of makes sense where sometimes you get a disadvantage when something like that because sometimes it's also nice to kind of have a switch with some players. But if you don't have a switch, you have to run with the six. You have to run with the six. Sometimes some teams could do it. Sometimes it doesn't hurt you, and sometimes it does. So I think going into this game here, I think it does. It seems like Jeff kind of did what he wanted. Went 23 for 27, 223 yards, 5 TDs. So it seems like he was pretty comfortable, only incompleting 4 passes and scoring 34 points in that game. So shout out to Banana, nice try, and shout out to Jeff, first year in co-ed and going co-ed one winter, and he's going to the finals. So he did a good job recruiting, and play. He's gonna play next week.
Can you hear me, Quasi?
Uh, yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. Yeah, good recap.
So
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So, but I was, no, worries. What I was trying to say before is just like you look at some of the females, right, that are playing for the IG team again, championship pedigree, Gabrielle Poisson, Jean Gravel, right? They've played and won championships with this team. But then you look at like the other side, right? You have like Catherine Gaumont. Catherine Gaumont, like she's a beast. She can ball. Maeve Jaguar as well. Maida Fazio, like one of the rising stars in this country in terms of like flag football, especially
Yeah.
for girls under the age of 18. Like I think it's just a little one sided in that department. Again, not being disrespectful to the IG team, the ladies on that squad, and that squad in general, right? A good team. Just I think there's a little bit of edge for Banner Night Try, especially since like you talked about the IG team missing a couple of players for that contest.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes sense. All right, let's go into so we had another game. You had
Five
the
v five.
Merge versus Dominoes.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
game ended 47-42. So
Yep.
as the people that do know, I play on the Dominoes.
Yep.
It was a good game. I'm gonna give a shout out to I'm gonna give a shout out to Mark Andre. He had a good game. He went 22 for 29, 178 yards, 7 TDs. We couldn't get a stop on defense. We did have some injuries. We had some players banged up.
Mhm.
We had Rochelle that wasn't there anymore because she dislocated her finger. Then we had Jamal Noel, one of the top rushers right now. He sprained his ankle, so he did not play that game.
Oh
So we
wow.
were kind of yeah. So we didn't have
Yeah.
we didn't have our prime rusher. So we kind of alternated. We had Lara that kind of rushed. We had Gigi that kind of came in a bit.
Mhm.
We had Joshua Malik that also came in as well to kind of
Okay.
try to
Okay.
mix things up. But it came to the point where
Yeah.
we just we couldn't get him. We had a couple fourth
Yeah.
down situations, and he ran out of it. It was like fourth and 10, and
Mm-hmm.
where we call a good defense, and he kind of rolls out and he starts sprinting, and he just gets a first down, and that kind of hurt us. Um, a weird situation that did happen in the game where they were time they were looking at the clock, um, and they end up scoring. We call the timeout. The ref didn't hear. We call the timeout. There was supposed to be 36 seconds left. Instead, there was 6 seconds left.
Okay.
So they ended up adding 25 seconds left on the clock. So it gave us 31 seconds. Kevin Wyatt throws me a bomb. I catch the ball. I end up scoring. I give them 26 seconds left to score into the half. they ended up driving down the field, scoring on the last play. So that to me, that was kind of the turning point where we would have been up 24 to 19, I think it was, or 24 to 20. Yeah, we would have been up by 4 going to halftime when they get the ball, but instead we were down going to halftime 24-27. They got the ball and they ended up they kept scoring. We couldn't get a stop. And then the
Okay.
one time when we had an opportunity to get our onside kick, uh, Kevin kind of underthrew it to me, and I kind of tried to make a play, and Mark made a good play, and he ended up batting it down. So shout out
Okay.
to them. They played a good game. They scored a lot of points when they had to, and they made the stop when they had to make a stop. Well,
Yeah, that seems
on
good.
site.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So I think that's again too good. So going to the talking about the finals, just briefly here. Going to the finals, I think it's gonna be a very good game. Um, both teams again. Merge was one of the top teams. Banana Nice Try was kind of coming up there. They got the wins that they had to get, and now they seem like they're one of the top teams to beat. So we're gonna have a good finals next week.
All right. Best of luck to both teams, and like I said, we'll have our in-depth analysis, preview, I should say, pardon me, of that game on next week's broadcast. Let's hop to 5v5 recreational.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we had the semifinals took place all the way back on April 23rd. It seems like forever ago, but it's only about 2 weeks ago. So again, we have
Yeah. So we kind of
Mercenaries and Trap
we
Stars.
already
Yeah,
yeah. I think we talked about this last week.
yeah,
We saw yeah. So we saw both the teams that we said we kind of we said what we kind of wanted to say. So it's gonna be Mercenaries versus Trap Stars, and again
yeah,
we'll talk about the championship matchup next week.
yeah.
We talk about all the teams.
Yeah, Mercenaries did play them week 13. Actually, I scored kept that game 33-19 win by Mercenaries over Trap Stars 5. 5v5 intermediate. We have Primo against CTE for the finals. Again, the semifinals were played about 2 weeks ago. So again, Primo beat CTE twice in the regular season. They're looking for the sweep and to win the championship, obviously. Again, but we'll have that for you. Our preview of that game next week, of course.
Yeah.
The
So
final 5v5
and then for 5v5 we have semis. It's the only division that's left that has 4 games left to be
Yeah,
played, and that's Monday. So
yeah,
we
that's
have
this coming Monday.
Braves,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
Braves versus Vengeance, Flagmaw versus
Yeah.
Jameson. So we did talk about it briefly on the teams that did win and who
Yeah.
lost, and then we didn't really. Well, we talked about it briefly, but again, so we have Braves versus Vengeance. I believe what I said I talked about was it's kind of crazy how you have Braves versus Vengeance in the semifinals because
Yeah.
this could be
The finals
this
matchup. Exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then you have Flagmore versus Jameson's. That's also
Yeah.
going to be a good game, which would actually be crazy, right? So technically, Braves and Flagmore are the higher seeds going into both of these games. That if Braves and Flagmore both win, we'll
Yes,
have
5v5 and 6v6
and
Division
six v
One.
six, which is gonna
Yeah, yeah,
which is kind of funny. I'm curious to see. So 5v5, the finals is at 7:30, right, on Sunday. Six
yeah,
v six
yeah.
when? I'm curious to see.
Hold on. I tell you in a second. And I have it written down. Let's double check here.
So yeah, sorry, I have it here. So they play at 18:15. So that's 6:15.
6:15. Yeah,
So
6:15.
would it be a back to back? Is it playing? Yeah, you play. That would be
Wait a
crazy
second.
because they would play versus each other in
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
and then play versus each other again in 5v5. That would be
That's
very.
actually that's actually pretty genius. That's some smart schedule making right there. I'll tell you.
That would be if they both win. That'd be kind of funny to see. It's like kind of say,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
it's gonna be weird. I find it would be weird because the both teams are playing again. So you play and then you win again. But you play versus both their teams are kind of familiar. I know they have a couple teams that are different, but
yeah.
a couple players that are different. But I find that's gonna be kind of funny to see what's gonna happen. And again, Braves versus Vengeance. I guess we could talk about it, right? So because it's gonna be happening on Monday, that's gonna be a good game. I don't even know who to pick here, but I think Flagmois is going to beat Jameson. So I'm gonna put my money on Flagmois. But when it comes to Braves and Vengeance, I don't know who's going to win there. Again, I'm a big Kevin Wyeth fan. So whenever you have Kevin Wyeth on your
Yeah.
team, you there's always a there's you never can cut them out. So even
If
if you
anything, I think your favorite if you have Kevin Wyeth on your team.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like people say, oh, you're playing the Braves, like good luck, but like okay, it's like they said like you ever see in Avengers like oh we have this guy and like oh we have Hulk or like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I feel like it's not. It's like oh we have him. Well, guess what? We have Kevin Wyatt. So
So is Kevin Wyeth your Thanos then? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I think Kevin. I just playing. I got to play a little bit with Kevin Wild and co-ed. I didn't play that much offense until the end, but like I
Right.
just felt like it was to a point like even at our game at co-ed, I'm like, yeah, Kevin, I could burn this guy. Just put it up for me. Like he always puts it in the right spots. Like it came to the point where I was never like he's one of the quarterbacks where I've never been nervous if I'm on the field or off the field. If I'm against him, I'm super nervous.
Okay.
But like
Okay. Yeah.
I just kind of realized like especially it happened in co-ed, but like I was not like let's say some games I'm on the field. I'm like I'm not nervous. I'm literally just there. I'm watching greatness. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
it was
Facts.
it was
Facts.
nice to see, and also I'm playing with him in Division 1 this year. So
Okay. Nice. Nice.
yeah, so that's gonna be pretty cool to actually get like a full
Yeah.
experience on the Division 6v6 men. To kind of see what's all about.
All right. Well, yeah,
Regarding
but
you
fun.
right now, so last two teams, Braves versus Vengeance, Flagmont versus Jameson's. Who would you give the? Who do you think
I
is
got
gonna
flat.
win?
I got Flatmon for sure. I'm gonna say it's a good question, man. I'm gonna say the All Stars just because you want to see Kevin Wyeth in a
Mhm.
championship game, and I think that the actual motivation of being knocked off by Flagmont in the quarterfinals, I believe, well, no, semifinals, sorry, for the playoffs in Division 1. I think the extra motivation to these guys like him, guys like Pat, guys like Matt, the veteran cats,
Yeah,
they want to get in there.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Um,
Okay.
so that's pretty
So
much we did everything. We did all divisions. We did 1 to 6, 6 to 1 actually. Like Rob, we did women's. We did five v
yeah, all the
five
things you know.
competitive. And then for everybody next week, it's gonna be championship weekend. So it's gonna be championship weekend. So we're gonna talk about every division. We're gonna talk about every team. We're gonna talk about what we think. Who do we think is gonna win? Who do we think is gonna lose? And yeah, so it's gonna be exciting. I'm excited to see. I'm excited for championship weekend. I'm excited for to watch all these teams play.
No, 100%, hundred
Yeah,
percent, hundred
I'm kind
percent.
of sad that I don't have a team that's gonna be in it, but at least I'll be able to there and just kind of relax and just enjoy
There you go. There you go.
enjoy the football.
Um,
I think it's like the first
did,
time I haven't. To be honest, I think it's the first winter where I don't have a team that made it to a championship.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I usually have
Shoot.
at least. I usually have one. I usually play on 3 or 4 teams. I usually have one team that usually makes it. So
Right. Right.
maybe
Right.
a bit different, but it is what
Okay.
it is. For the ones that did hear us, so the schedules are out for the spring season. So if
Yep.
you are watching this on the Friday when it's out, you don't realize, you could check that out. It's also going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure they canceled the tournament that's supposed to be coming up, right? Like this week.
Yeah, I heard that was the rumor is not as many teams as anticipated, so it's supposed to be canceled.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's supposed to be. I think that was supposed to happen this weekend. So that is canceled for the
yeah.
people that don't
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
They're supposed to reschedule it, put it on a different day.
Yeah.
So hopefully that does happen because tournaments are fun. It's also nice to see everyone come out and enjoy the
Yeah.
experience of
For sure.
flag. A lot of flag in the summer is also nice. The weather's nice out. We're playing outdoors. You see people that you don't always see. It's nice to see faces. It's always a good time. So hopefully they do reschedule that. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
'Cause that's and we've been talking about this for weeks, and so we have like 5 minutes left. This is actually kind of nice. We're doing the podcast, and neither you or I have to run out and do scorekeeping or playing.
Yeah,
It's kind
it's
of
true.
nice. Let's okay. So we're talking about the All Stars. So let's hop into that quick. They
Okay.
were announced recently. Um, you can go onto the obviously the Flat Plus Football website, and when you go to there's an All Star article that you'll see in the article section. So click on that. All the All Stars and all the information
Yeah.
for the All Star tournament will show up as well. Like I said, the All Star tournament is taking place Thursday, May 15th. I believe that's next Thursday. Yeah, it's next Thursday. So from 7 to 11 at the multi-sport complex in Laval. It'll be at the outdoor field, so not inside, not inside field. It's not there. It'll be at the outdoor one. So make sure to go check that out. There'll be going to be awards given, obviously, all-star T-shirts and all that stuff. So all that's going to be given up between 7 and 7:15, and then it's going to be picking up the teams, all-star teams, between 7:15 and 7:30, and then from 7:30 to about 10:30, they'll have all these different mini all-star games. So again, that'll be at the Laval field where we play, but again at the outdoor field, not inside the complex.
Yeah,
And yeah, so
that'd be
it'll be
here.
fun to check that out.
Yeah, so the people that don't, the new people that never been All Star, it's really fun. You end up playing with other players. You end up playing with a lot of other players that you probably maybe you'll never play with them ever. Actually, on in a season, right? Because you go from competitive to Division 6B to Division 1. So how it works, you have a captain, you'll draft a couple players, and then you get a team, right? So you end up you end up playing with players that you probably sometimes will never play with, and you play against players that you'll never play against. So it's always a good time. It's always fun, especially during this time when it's outdoors. A lot of people are around. The weather, if the weather's nice, hopefully it is. It's a good time to kind of just interact and also recruit as well. You know, you see some players that you kind of wanted to talk to, or you see some people you kind of wanted to talk to, but you weren't really sure. So it's kind of like it's a easier I would say, like, atmosphere regarding to be able to talk to certain players where you don't feel as comfortable because you're not really friends with them, right? But if you get on their team for the All Stars, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm him or so, and it's a good place to connect with players.
Yeah, definitely. So make sure you go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Even if you're not playing this, say go connect with players like Quasi's saying. Just go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Super cool event. I'm sure there'll be a couple of drinks handed out there, and if you want to watch some good football and have some laughs, and go check it out.
Yeah.
Quickly, I want to say, before we hop to this All Star thing, I just want to say, um, totally different from FPF, but there's gonna be some FPF people there. This coming weekend, so we're filming this on a Wednesday. So this Saturday is going to be May 10th. Going to be part of an event actually for a lot of different other organizations. It's called Together in Bloom. It's being put together by a friend of mine, Onisha Lewis. It's going to be at the St. Raymond Center that's in NDG. It's at 5600 Upper Lachine Road. It's going to be different entrepreneurs there, people with different businesses. It's going to be massage therapy. So I think they're giving out free massages. It's going to be different food vendors, and it's gonna be DJs and music and stuff. There's gonna be some sporting events as well, stuff for the kids, stuff for the adults. So if you can come out this Saturday, May 10th at the St. Raymond Center in NDG, the event is called Together in Bloom, along with the Little Bean Foundation. It's between 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. this Saturday. So come check me out on my podcast. I have another podcast. It's called The 514 Show. I'll be there with my co-host Ryan. We'll be hosting some people on. Jeff and Ben have been a guest on my podcast a couple of times. So come on, be part of the podcast and enjoy the stuff, enjoy the fun. Bring out your kids if you want, or just bring yourselves. Have some fun. All right, so yeah.
Well, are we just gonna do Division 1, Division 2?
Yeah, Division 1, Division 2, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
okay,
I have Division 1. I have Division 1 and Division 2
okay,
brought up from what the community chose.
perfect. Okay, so
Okay. So
you see that here. Okay, so
I feel like, yeah, for this to work out, maybe we'll see if someone got snubbed, or maybe we
yeah,
think like someone didn't.
exactly.
So let's just go up from down, so it's kind of easier way. So
Yeah,
QB of the year was Jeremy White.
100%. 100%. I totally agree with that. I think you're crazy. And anybody be crazy not to agree with Jordan White being the QB of the year. It is what it is. The man, like, he lit Division 2, pardon me, on fire. 63 touchdown passes. That's more than anybody else. He's deserving of the award.
Yeah, 6 INTs. Receiver of the year, Adam Rosen. So
I like it. I mean, he's part of a prolific offense. Again, he has the most touchdowns, 25 on the season. 25 touchdowns on 38 catches. So his reception to TD ratio is pretty solid. So I think he deserves it as well.
yeah, you had Danny Manzini.
Mancini. So
He had 20 touchdowns, 884 yards. So I mean, that was pretty close. But I mean, again, like 5 touchdowns. The fact that you have 5 more touchdowns than everybody else, it's a big gap there, right?
Yeah.
Defensive the player of the year, you have Quade Johnson.
Yeah. six INTs. I think where he wins it though is because he has 32 tackles. I believe that's the tops in Division Two.
Yeah,
I'm just double
exactly.
checking. Yeah, it is. No, no,
More
it's
like
not tops. It's not tops. It's not tops. He's actually third.
in
He's
tackles.
yeah, he's behind Dondre Borden.
Yeah, but he has more picks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
I'm just saying that.
INTs are worth more than picks.
Oh no, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Danik could have had an example. Like I mean, he did have six INTs, but he had a pick six. So you could have kind of say that he. I mean, six INTs and a pick six is a pick six is a pick six. It's an extra
I
touchdown.
hear you, but it's only like 8 tackles, right? So okay, 8 tackles means that either you're only playing on defense here and there, or you're missing a lot of tackles.
Or you're just playing on an island.
Yeah, that could be a two. That could be a two.
So
That
I
could be a,
mean, I mean, and then you also had this other guy from Shake and Beak, Felix Padon, with three
yeah,
pick sixes.
yeah. He had five. See, that's it. He got snubbed. For him, for me, he be on
Yeah,
my All Star team.
three pick sixes is a lot. He, to be honest with you, five INTs, three pick sixes. I think that deserves that
In
deserves defensive
seven
player.
games. Seven. He
Yeah,
only played 7 games.
I
That to me,
think
he should have
so.
made All Star.
Yeah.
He should
All
have made
right.
All Star. You
Two-way
got
player. You had Danny Manzini.
yeah. So
Uh,
again,
I
20
think that's
touchdowns.
fine. He was top receiving yards. He had six INTs, 20 tackles.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I
That's
think he's
fair.
pretty much there. And then you had All Stars. You had Ben as
Yeah.
quarterback, Louis as receiver, Dondre, AJ as I think a dual threat, I guess, on defense,
Yeah.
and then Ethan as a rusher.
So
So
Ethan led everybody in sacks in the division.
yeah, the only thing that's complicated when it comes to All Stars that player teams guys play on multiple teams, right? So you
Yeah,
might think maybe one guy should have gotten it, but he plays like Division three. That's the reason why he got it there, you know. So it's kind
right.
of harder
It's-
to kind of based
I
it on All Stars. It's kind of like straight. Well, you should if you're like I mean like All Star of the year, you deserve their award. You should have got it. So I feel like All Stars is a bit harder because guys play on multiple other teams like Division Four, Division Five. You know, so
my only thing is okay. So with this is again, you're right. If you play on different divisions, I can understand. Like someone might say, well, "How is AJ going to win in Division Two if he's a clearly Division 1 player?" Whatever. I mean, he's welcome to play in any division he wants. Okay, so but besides Felix Houdon, do you feel there's any other players that perhaps might have got robbed or snubbed from making All Star?
no, just All Stars. I'm not exactly sure because I don't know the awards on different teams. Like say Division Three, like I would say maybe Division One, Jalen maybe could have gotten. Also, I didn't really look as much at these stats, but that's my only difference. Well, also then Brady won two-way player, so like it's different from there as All Star. Like he could have been All Star in Division Two, but they gave him two ways, so he's an All Star in Division Three. So it's like it's hard to say or kind of look at.
Okay, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna say Felix Houdon is one, and I want to say even El Andre Abbey from the Party Ballers. He's like the number one receiver, and this guy's a stud on both sides of the ball, especially at receiver. I think he should have got some consideration for All Star. And I want to say even Will Power. I feel Will Power is a guy who he's a solid Division 1 player, but I think maybe All Star in Division 2. And even Vinci Bionde from the Party Ballers. Four
Mhm.
INTs, he ran one back for a touchdown. He put up some solid offensive numbers as well. He's a guy that's under the radar. Yeah, he had only 5 TDs. I think at least in consideration for All Star.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Um,
So Div one.
uh, so Division One. So I'm just gonna go to it. So you had Alex Pease for QB of the year.
Yes, I mean I think that makes sense. He had 52 touchdown passes. That's
Yeah, he
uh,
led it. Yeah, he was over
14
by
more.
13 other than
14
everybody else.
more.
It's
YF
yards too. He had 700 more than yards than everybody else. That's
Exactly.
automatic.
Exactly.
And then
Yep.
receiver of the year, you have Guillaume
Top
Paquette.
receiver.
He has
Yep.
14
Top receiver.
TDs. He has the most touchdowns and the most second most receiving yards. So compared to Andrew Grant at 621 and 2 TDs. So
Yeah.
Grant had 50 more 50 more yards. Oh, Guillaume Pocket only played 7 games as well. So I mean, never mind. That's
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Defensive
Defensive
player
player.
of the year, Emil.
Yeah, but
That's
Dwayne. So I'm gonna tell you, I've written about this guy tons of times over the years. Super underrated. I know when they were called the Alpha T's, he was always my X factor in any game they were in, especially championship games. He's that guy. He'll catch every pass. He'll give good coverage on defense. I've never heard him say more than one word. He's quiet as a mouse, this guy, but he makes big plays for that team, no matter what they're called. And so, congrats to him on getting that Defensive Player of the Year award.
yeah, four pick sixes too,
Yeah, yeah. So he let yeah
and
eight INTs and yeah
yeah,
four in return.
7 games played. So I mean, big shout out to him. And
Yep,
then two-way player, you have Jean Slee.
that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Six INTs,
Six
right? Two.
INTs, two pick
Yep.
sixes, and then for receiver wise, I'm just trying to see where he is. Jean Slee, uh, 31 catches, 430 yards, 11 touchdowns. So he's top one, two, three, four, five. He's top five in receiving touchdowns, tied with
Yeah.
tied with Jeremy Murphy and Matt Kiriak. So I mean,
Yep.
he's still top five in receiving touchdowns, and for yards, he is John Slee 430. He's top five. One, two, three, four. He's top six for that. So I mean, he's in between that, but again, his INTs does help him regarding the more defense towards offense. So top five and top six. So put that together, I mean, he's pretty much there, and he has better stats than anybody else regarding those two others. He has better stats than anybody else going two ways.
Right. Right.
And
No, that
then the
makes
All
sense.
Star, sorry,
No, no, I'm agreeing. I said that makes sense. That
yeah.
makes sense.
And then the All Stars. So you have Kevin Wyeth as a quarterback. So he was number two with 38 touchdowns, 7 INTs. No one really came up close to that except for Jesse Dupree, but Jesse Dupree threw 14 INTs. So that's the reason why they have the number two quarterback. Andrew Grant, again, he was number two, top number two receiver as the receivers going into it. Then you had Jerome. Um, Jerome was number two in receiving TDs.
Hmm.
So there's that. And then you had Jordan McLaren, where he was more a defensive guy. He should have been. If it's not
Yeah.
Emil that wins Defensive Player of the Year, it's
Yeah,
Jordan with
Jordan McLaren for sure.
seven
Yeah. Yeah.
INTs. I think 7 games played and two pick sixes. So he's right behind there. And then you had Francis, that
Yeah.
I guess got
Frankie
it
Hogue.
for
Yeah.
right. I'm assuming.
Yeah. 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 Got it for Russia. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I guess they have one. They always have to have one rusher. You should always have one rusher going in. So I think the question where if to see if anyone got snubbed here regarding All Stars again, it's kind of well, Division One, like the Player of the Year. I don't think anyone got snubbed. I think it was pretty accurate regarding the stats.
yeah. Yeah.
And then for All Stars again, Kevin Wyeth, number top two receiver, number top quarterback, Andrew Grant, number top two receiver. Then you have Jeremy Heventon, that was number three, just going down. Jordan McLaren, which was number two top defender, and then Francis Lachol, the number one, the best rusher that we had this year.
Yeah, 10 sacks when you got to reach double digits. I will say, I think maybe the Hall of Famer Pat Jerome, might have got snubbed. He only played 6 games, but he had
Yeah,
12 touchdowns too, and
yeah.
four
So the,
picks.
the issue the issue with Pat, right? So you would have to take out Jordan, but Jordan has offensive stats too,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then you would have to take out Grant, but Andrew Grant had better receiving stats than Pat.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
So I think that's like kind of also the issue, right? You always want to have number one receiver, number two receiver, right? Like
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
you didn't win receiver of the year, but you still had a really good stat line, so we'll give you all star for being number two. And the same thing for defensive, right? Like
right.
Jordan, you didn't win defensive, but you still had a crazy season, so we'll give you number two. So
Yeah.
and then
But
again, as a rusher, as you were saying, if you have 10 sacks, I mean, 10 sacks is 10 sacks. It's
Division
still
one,
like
yeah, that's it.
again,
Yeah,
especially Division One, like to get a sack a game, it's to average a sack a game, it's pretty good because most quarterbacks are catching and they're letting it go, right? So
exactly, exactly. I will say so. It's good to see like this whole All Star format didn't just rely on like names. Like, oh, okay, we'll just give the quarterback of the year to Kevin Wyeth or Alex.
yeah,
I mean, those are the two quarterbacks that made All Star. But guys like Andrew Grant, right? Like he got some recognition for a good season. Obviously, well, Jordan McClain's been in the league for a long time. Guys like Jerome and that, guys who don't like guys who are higher level players but haven't played like 5, 6, 7 years in Division One, right? Just
Yeah.
the guys like that who are starting to come up to play in those high divisions are getting the recognition that they're due. So it's always good to see.
Yeah. All right. So
Right?
that's our opinion for our Division One, Division Two All Stars. Since we didn't get to uh, draft one, so that's kind of our opinion going down to the end of the season. That's how we feel. Yeah.
All right. So I guess
So
that'll do it for this week.
yeah. I'll let you.
Yeah. Don't forget, once again, All Star festivities are taking place again on May 15th, next Thursday at the Laval Field. Don't forget also to like and subscribe to this podcast on YouTube. Click the like and subscribe button so we can get more subscribers, more followers, and all that.
Hopefully for the stream that's going to be on YouTube, we get more people subscribing. Like if it's live, I think it's on YouTube, so hopefully people subscribe. We should have a thing where we should have a thing on YouTube. If you can't watch it if you're not subscribed to us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And don't forget, obviously, with the finals, right, coming up again next weekend, May 17th and 18th in Broussard. It's going to start both days, so from noon to 11 p.m. It's going to be a lot of football, so make sure to come out in person if you can. Watch again on YouTube and watch on Facebook as well. Facebook Live will have the games as well. A lot of good football. I'm excited about it. And again, we're going to preview every single finals matchup on next week's the final podcast of the season.
Maybe we'll have some special guests too.
Yeah, I think we will. Hopefully. If you want to, if actually, you know what, we want to have some guests come on. We've been talking about that. So if you do want to come on the podcast and talk a little trash or say whatever, it's just hopefully, ideally, you're still playing. If we could be talking some trash, reach out to one of us. Reach out to the league. Reach out to Jeff, the band, Quasi, myself, Ali Reza. Hit us up on the Facebook FPF page. Find a way to reach us, and we'll have you on next week. All right, so that'll do it. I'm Brent. It's Quasi. Thank you, Ali. We're out. Have a good night, and for all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day this coming Sunday. You guys deserve it. It's gonna be awesome, and the weather's getting good, so I'm excited. And let's go Knicks. See you guys later.